So Loki's on vacation this week, and producer Eddie Focus had a fantastic idea. Just recently, we finished 13 Reasons Why Season 2, and we thought, to hell with it. Let's do another bonus episode like we did a year ago, reviewing 13 Reasons Why Season 2. Warning ahead of time, if you have not watched this all the way through, you are going to hear spoilers. But hey, we still want you to stick around. Watch the show on your Netflix while you listen to us. And now, the opening theme song. I never get tired of hearing that song. That song is badass. Thank you, Sinners Inc., for such a fantastic song.
Hello, folks.
That's Focus. I'm Jabroni. It's still the Loki and Jabroni show, but Loki is on a well-deserved vacation. He watched his sister get married. He is now traipsing amongst the hills and valleys and trees.
In a gorgeous cabin, we should say.
Yeah.
It's like fantastic.
He's in Maine. But you know what? He's here with us in spirit, and Ed gets to sit in the big chair tonight. So props to you, man. How are you tonight?
I'm great.
I am awesome myself.
I'm going to move us away from our advertising swag, though.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a good idea. People need to see where to get the official merchandise. And also, if you did not see the video that this young gentleman put up just days ago, brand new Loki and Jabroni show merchandise at cafepress.com/Loki and Jabroni. Little guy with a little cuss word bubble above his head, and you can get it in little guy with the hat that's in purple for Loki. You can get a little guy with a red hat for Jabroni. Show who we're all one army, but man, show your love. If you want a Loki shirt, get a Loki shirt. You want a Jabroni shirt, get a Jabroni shirt.
Maybe I'll make one with a blue hat. Who knows?
You should. You can have your own
see.
little Focus army. I have some ideas that I want to do that we could maybe add to that. I'll send you some ideas by the end of the week, but we'll have you guys vote. Over. I'll put out a poll. I'll give like 3 or 4 slogans on the Facebook page. Maybe I'll throw it on Twitter. You guys vote, and whatever wins, that's going to be a new shirt. I know for myself, I want a horseshit shirt that I can just wear, the emoji horseshit. I don't know how that's going to fly, but, you know, who are we to ever care what people think? So, man, you got anything on your mind this week before we dive right into the 13 Reasons Why Season 2?
No, not really. Not a lot going on. Obviously, real quick, new Supreme Court justice is being nominated.
You know, somebody asked me about that today. Are you going to cover that? And I said, I really don't think so. We're doing 13 Reasons, but hey, you get your wish. Let's talk about that. Yeah,
touch on a
Yale
little.
graduate, from what I understand.
Yes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Semi-Connecticut boy does good. I know he's not from Connecticut, but
I don't like him.
You don't like anybody.
That's not true. I love Gorsuch.
Okay.
Neil Gorsuch was a slam dunk. This guy is really bad on Fourth Amendment stuff. He's really bad on surveillance.
Now, for the folks out there who may not be familiar with the Fourth Amendment, we've talked about it a few weeks ago on the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, basically that's the search and seizure, right to speedy trial, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not good on basically the government surveillance and stuff like that. And he's also not good with presidents being investigated for crimes.
Interesting.
He actually wrote an op-ed about it where he said it it hinders the president's ability to be effective and kills people's faith in the federal government.
How?
Well, it does, but that's a no shit.
No, that's. I mean, maybe I'm answering from everyman perspective who don't worry about shit like this, like you and I do, and others. But never mind. I don't have a problem with the choice. I don't. Of course, as long as I'm not searched, seizure, thrown in jail, and I get my right to a speedy trial, I could give a fuck about anybody else. To be honest.
Well, I mean, who knows? The way he votes will be different. Could be different. Who knows?
Right.
Everyone's kind of freaking out about overturning Roe versus Wade, like they always do. And yeah. I keep telling people on the social medias because people are everyone's a political scholar on the social medias. It's not that simple.
No, there'd be a lot of litigation, There's just so much about
Well, that's the kicker. There has to be a case.
Mm-hmm.
A case has to be brought forward that would challenge it, for one, and two, just even if it, let's say it did get overturned, that doesn't make abortion illegal. You then have to make it illegal, and then it would go to the states for that. There's 50 states. A majority of them are pretty much have it legal at least to the first trimester.
Right.
So it's not as simple or cut and dry. Is it a possibility? Yeah.
Anything's a possibility.
I don't think it's likely to happen.
No, not at all.
No, but
not at all.
Yeah, that's just my personal opinion on him. I know some conservatives love him, you know, but I think kind of the same way the left, kind of puts all their eggs in one basket that it's going to change everything. I think the right is also putting all their eggs in one basket that it is going to change something. So I think there's too much overconfidence in how the Supreme Court works, and it's making people crazy on both sides. Yeah. On both sides.
But then again, we have, people that react harshly without doing their due diligence, their homework, etc., so forth. And you and I are big believers in, before you spew your filthy guts, do some homework, read up on a subject. But to hear some of these people before the man is even sworn, he hasn't been.
Well, he's been nominated, so right. Next Senate will hold hearings. He'll get grilled. He's already been grilled to get on the bench,
right?
Because he was a federal court judge, so he's already been through the nomination and the Senate process once. So he's going to get double grilled, and it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same crap. People on the right are going to probably ask him certain constitutional questions, and then the left is all going to be like, are you going to overturn Roe versus Wade? That's all they're going to ask him.
Just let somebody do the fucking job.
Well, judges, here's the thing. Judges aren't supposed to be partisan. They're supposed to be constitutional. Like, exactly. They're supposed to evaluate the constitutionality of a law challenged,
etc.
If right. Congress passes something, they're supposed to judge it on that merits. And I'm thinking back to a case, the union case I just went through, where they shot down that federal employees couldn't be forced to join a union, and everybody lost their goddamn mind over it.
Right.
You can tell just the difference in how certain judges view things. Like Gorsuch's entire view on it was like First Amendment and being able to choose and stuff like that. And Ruth Ginsburg's whole thing was all about her feelings. Like, I feel this is mean kind of thing. And it's like, this has nothing to do. This is not even your job.
I may just amend one of my favorite sayings right now for Ms. Ginsburg. The laws don't stop where your fragile fucking feelings begin. Right. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
Yeah. And another thing too is the Supreme Court is often referred to as the supreme law of the land. That's not true.
No.
They're supposed to render opinion. And
the Constitution.
The Congress, believe it or not, the president and the Congress can ignore the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
That's not allowed, because what enforcement agency does the Supreme Court employ?
That's a good question.
They have none.
Okay.
It's just those 9 judges, and that's it.
Oh, right.
There's no police. There's no, like, the FBI is not going to arrest everyone in Congress. They work for the executive branch. So the Supreme Court is just supposed to rule on opinions. We're supposed to hear those opinions as citizens and base our voting on whether or not the president and the Congress took the advice of the Supreme Court or not.
Gotcha.
That's the way it's supposed to be. That is the exact definition of for the people, by the people. Because FDR at one point was trying to push things through that the Supreme Court shot down. He pushed them through anyway. One time he threatened the Supreme Court, if you don't vote my way, I'm going to stack the Supreme Court, because you can keep adding judges to that court. There's nothing unconstitutional about it.
There's no limit. I mean, what are there, 9 on
There's
there
9.
now?
They could keep stacking it all they want. It just has to have a deciding vote.
It would just be watered down. It'd be like the NWO of freaking judges, where you start out with 9 members, and all of a sudden you got 33 fucking judges, and that just, never mind.
There's nothing in the Constitution that says you only have to have 9 judges. You just have to have a deciding vote. So it has to be an odd number.
Odd number,
yeah,
obviously.
That's it. But that's really all I got to say about that. I'm skeptical about this guy. I would have preferred, her last name is drawing a blank, but I would have preferred Amy
I can't remember.
I can't remember her name. She was another possible nominee. I would have preferred her. Ultimately, I would have preferred Chris Ann Hall, Liberty's lobbyist, but
wouldn't that have been great?
But you can't always get what you want.
But you can get what you need, and we got what we needed on June 30th, just this past week and a half ago.
Yeah.
We did the live stream from Constitution State Wrestling. Ooh. Another great event, guys. When Constitution State Wrestling, when you hear us talk about it, if you're in the southeastern Connecticut area, maybe on the fringe of Rhode Island, Massachusetts, wherever, get your butt to the show, say hello to us, and enjoy some great entertainment. And I'm going to break down what happened. From the get-go, we got there, we set up the rig, we talked to a few different guys that were milling around. I did a live stream from, like, when I say ringside, I mean, my hand was on the mat. I was, like, right there. And there's a little surprise at the end of this. But in the opening match was Bullet Joe, who was probably 4'5" with a 10-foot dick, fighting Ronnie Ribbs, who was probably 260. And what a great match. And this little midget guy, he wasn't a midget, he's just great. A short guy. But, man, was he good. And Bullet Joe took home the win.
I got to say something, though. Those fucking legs, dude. That guy's legs were jacked. He's like, imagine this little guy with Popeye arms for legs.
That's exactly what.
And they were just like, I'm just like, holy cow! I mean, this guy was fit. Don't get us wrong, but
he was stout for a short guy.
And I don't want to great show.
I don't want to pick on him, but I'm going to pick on him.
You're supposed to. I think that was the whole thing, and he was freaking amazing. He put on a great show. It was a great way to kick off the event.
Absolutely, because we saw him walk out when he got up on the ring apron. It looked like he was eye level with that top rope. And Eddie and I have gotten into a wrestling ring at the end of Veterans Pro Wrestling, and we got to stand there and we got our picture taken, and we are head and shoulders above the top rope.
It's larger than life when you're actually in one.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
A friend of mine did some boxing training one time, and he had keys to the gym. He goes, "You want to go help me train? I need to go to the gym." You just hold the pads, you swipe them. I'm like, "Sure, no problem." But they also trained wrestlers there. So we got into the wrestling ring, and he just looks at me and goes, "You know you want to." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You know you want to bounce off those ropes right now." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do." And I did the crisscross, and I got up on the second rope, and I was, yeah. And he's, okay,
like,
now
you got it, brother.
Now it's time to train. So we did that, and it was fun. But this guy,
I got to confess, when I'm in that ring, I just want to do the leg drop.
Me too. I ain't gonna lie. Either that or the Superfly splash. But when there's nobody underneath to catch your Superfly splash, you're just basically jumping to jump.
The Hogan leg drop is probably the only thing I could do that probably won't injure myself, which is probably why he's done it for his whole career.
He's also had both his hips replaced, and he's had major back surgery. So I mean, you do that for 30 years, you're bound to get hurt.
And that's not a small leg coming down on you either.
No, he's a 300-pound. I stood next to Hulk Hogan when I almost interviewed him. There's a picture somewhere. I think I shared it online one time. And his arms were as big as my head, and he's easily a foot taller than me. I'm a legit 5'10", so that makes him 6'8"-ish. They build him at 6'8". But then he stands next to The Rock, who's 6'6", and they're only separated by about an inch. So I'd say he's a good 6'7".
You know they over-exaggerate those
things a
little.
They bump up the weight. I know.
Like Andre's height has changed like so many times.
His weight, too.
But then again, actually, he was always growing.
Funny. Read Hogan's book, where when they bill him, I just recently, because thanks to the WWE Network, which you can get at www.lokingjabroni.com/wrestling, 2 months free. I got to tell you about that. Don't let me forget the Steve Austin story at the end of this.
You got it.
All right. So I watched WrestleMania 3 over again. His build weight when he came to the ring was 508 pounds. Now, if you read Hogan's book, he says he was billed at 608 pounds. Then later on in interviews, he says the 700-pound giant. I'm like, Jesus, it's like Yokozuna. The weight just keeps ballooning.
Well, I know he had that what was that?
Acromegaly.
Yeah, but I don't think he'd grow that fast.
No. And not in the span of like 4 fucking hours either. But
we just triggered some 8-foot people suffering from that.
Probably. So. Sorry, 8-footers. We had the XWA Students match, which was young Mr. Awesome. Harris versus Joey Bones. That was a fantastic match. They were all great. Let's get that out of the way now. And Mr. Harris went over. I think his first, was it Todd Harris?
Yeah.
He was billed and he came out dressed like the Newport, Rhode Island upper echelon kind of guy. Very fun show. And then Necromancer took on 2 Buff with the Buff Dad, which ended in a no contest because James Ellsworth, WWE talent, came out, interfered in the match, and then issued his open challenge, which was answered by, we all had our guesses, and it was answered by the 390-pound Congo.
Congo.
Which we love Congo. Congo, if you're out there, man, big love to you. Every time you put on a great show, and that match happens later. The ladies' match was Isana versus Jocelyn, and Jocelyn is like the little shark lady. Another fantastic event.
That was awesome.
Those two girls. If it wasn't for the match that happened after this, I would have voted for that for the match of the night. But then we got Matt Cross versus JC Dunn.
Oh my God! Yes.
When you talk to a couple guys who I'm in and out, I'll watch a little bit here and a little bit there. I'll catch Monday Night Raw when I want, here and there. You're accustomed to a certain kind of match, which is the TV. Here we are, we're doing our thing. But Matt Cross and JT Dunn, by God, put on easily the best match I've seen this year. And I know I said earlier in the year, we did the WrestleMania review, I said it was AJ and Nakamura and Charlotte and Asuka, like neck and neck. This at CSW3 leapfrogged right over that match. Those matches.
I gotta say, during that match, it was so hard not to like get up from that table and run down to just watch that match up close. That the just incredible athletes. It was almost like a ballet. They were just played off of each other perfectly. It was fantastic.
And JT Dunn, God love you, kid. You went up against a nationwide superstar, in some cases international, because he does the Lucha Underground, which is California, Mexico, etc. But it's piped all over the country. You went toe to toe, kid. You matched him move for move. Boom.
Would you say that was the Steamboat Savage match?
Easily.
Yeah.
Of this card, Steamboat Savage. Went to intermission. We came back. We had Riot City's Most Wanted versus Tough Guy Inc., a tag team match. Tough Guy Inc. walked away with the victory.
That was entertaining.
Yeah, pretty nondescript match.
That was one of the, like, it wasn't bad match, but I would hardly call it like it was. I don't think it was meant to be like high flying.
No, it was what it was.
Yeah, it was an entertaining match, and it was hilarious.
There's a reason they put this on in the popcorn match position, which, if you're not familiar, the popcorn match is the first match back from intermission.
Yep.
People are still filing back to their seats. But in this intermission, you had the raffle, you had this, you had that. It was funny watching promoter Nat Peterson run at top speed all over the building to award the prizes. Because the first couple, he waited for him to walk over, and he's like, screw this, I'm just going to go bring them their shit. So Nat's running all over. God love you, Nat. Excellent show.
I'm surprised he didn't have a heart attack by the end of the night.
So then we had Congo versus James Ellsworth, which then had two Buff Dad, and Necro come down and put their 2 cents into it. At the end of it, little 190-pound James Ellsworth walked away with the victory over 390-pound Congo. Chicanery. That's all I can say.
Yep.
And finally...
Dirty pool.
Yeah, you can say that again. And our main event was Trigger the OG, formerly known as Triple-Licious, taking on WWE legend Gangrel. Was great for what it was. Trigger looked great. I know every time we see him, he gets more lean, slim, trim. Remember the first time we did this? Mm-hmm. And he was a little bit chunkier.
He's putting the work in.
Was he sleek?
Yeah, he's putting the work in. You can tell.
God bless you, Trigger.
He's gearing up to be big talk in this game.
Someone should call him up. Bring him down to the NXT in Orlando. Have him work, and maybe one day become Trigger the OG WWE superstar. Yeah. But thank you again to Nat Peterson of Constitution State Wrestling. Thank you again to Joey Royale, the best ring announcer in the state of Connecticut. And now comes what I told you there was a little surprise, Steve Austin story. Don't forget that next.
So tell me about that Steve Austin story.
Okay, and remind me about the big announcement for CSW4. Because it's already been booked.
Okay,
so the Steve Austin story. Now, we have, as one of our affiliates, the WWE Network. Mm-hmm. And whenever a new promotion comes up, we're sitting here pre-production before everything goes hot, and Ed's like, hey, make sure to mention that this is the new promotion, or he'll put it up on the page. 2 weeks ago, when we last did this, was the promotion for, if you join the WWE Network now through LokiandJabroni.com/wrestling, you get 2 months for free. The offer ends at the end of July. So I'm listening to the Steve Austin podcast earlier today. If you've never listened to the Steve Austin show, it's entertaining. Doesn't matter who he has on. He's just regular guy Jones like us, but he's got a level of success that we will never know. But, you've heard him.
It's the usual Steve Austin.
Right. So he comes on, he does his little break, and he's got his ad bumper. He goes, hey, I just want to let you guys know that, the WWE Network is $9.99 a month. And right now, only for listeners of the Steve Austin Show. If you sign up now using steveaustin.com/WWE, you get 2 months for free. And I'm listening to this, I'm like, you jackass. We did that 2 weeks ago. So when you hear a podcast say, oh, if you only for our listeners, horseshit, and horseshit, you pick us and go get your free 2 months worth of WWE.
Yeah. Go to www.lokiandjabroni.com/wrestling for either the WWE Network or get your favorite merchandise at the store. We're also at the WWE shop. So
we're going to talk about that in just 2 minutes. But now for CSW4, I'm finally going to get my revenge on that little toothless wonder, Elvis Royale. If you missed CSW2, it was my birthday. They got me a cake, but I was hot that they had Elvis give it to me. I was just hot. That was 6 months ago. And what did this little Peckerwood do? He threw the cake in my face. Like, full-on Pie-Face Jones. And I wanted my revenge. And I saw Elvis at the show, and I accosted him. I didn't punch him, because that's not what I do. I just went over and roughed him up a little bit, and promoter Nat Peterson put it together. So CSW4, when it happens, we don't know. In a garden net around the ring, so that little punk can't escape. Hair versus hair. Elvis Royale versus G.I. Jabroni.
I don't know, man. The odds are stacked against you, bro.
Nah, well, I've always beat the odds.
Well, we'll see what happens. Place your bets, folks.
Exactly. And come out to CSW4, Constitution State Wrestling number 4, whenever it happens, to see who wins the hair versus hair match. Let's pay some bills real quick, and then we'll dive right in. Our 2018 fundraiser is Chad Hatfield and Team World Vision. Chad Hatfield and Team World Vision are trying to bring clean water to countries that do not have access to clean water. Go to the top of our Facebook page. The link is back at the top. Click the donate button. Tell them we sent you in the little description bar. It's like, hey, I heard this on the Loki and Jabroni show. Here's $5. Thanks for doing this. Chad Hatfield and Team World Vision are doing great things. And by the way, in November, as a part of Team World Vision, Chad Hatfield will be in this area running the New York City Marathon. So good causes all the way around. Want some sexy shirts like Eddie and I have on? If you're watching the live stream, you can see them. If you are audio only, you can't. So you have to go to cafepress.com/Loki and Jabroni. 2 new t-shirts are now available. The Loki cuss word guy and the Jabroni cuss word guy, which you will find have different color hats. Purple for Loki, red for Jabroni. Get your gear now. Don't forget to go to LokiandJabroni.com and shop all of our great affiliates. We talked about WWE. We always talk about Amazon. Anytime you do your shopping, bookmark it in your favorites. It's going to go right to your account, and they kick back a little bit to help us out, especially WWE. We'll talk about that in a minute. Patreon.com/Loki and Jabroni if you want to donate to the show. $5, $10, $20. There are levels that get you free stuff if you do this, and Ed is going to introduce our newest affiliate right now.
So I got something I think you're gonna like. Basically, we all love the finer things in life.
Yes.
Whether it be chocolate, wine,
yes,
craft beer, microbrew international craft beer.
You have my attention.
Cigars.
I'm not a huge fan, but I enjoy one every 2 years or so.
This isn't so much for you, but other people love cheese.
Yes. Jim Lollimer, if you're listening.
And who doesn't love to give that special someone fresh cut flowers? I
very much enjoy every now and again, not just when I screw up, giving the Eternal Flame flowers.
Well, if you go to www.lokiandjabroni.com/monthly, you can sign up for these monthly clubs that will give you
very cool
gourmet chocolate shipped to your house every month, microbrew beer of the month, both U.S. and international. They've got fresh cut flower of the month, cigar of the month, all shipped to your house. And really excited this one. Cheese, you name it. Jim Lollimer, try the Cheese Club, please. And you can get a $15 off on a prepaid 6 shipment order from the Microbrewed Beer of the Month Club, the #1 beer club. Just use the code SAVE15. Or you can get $25 off gourmet cheese on a prepaid 12 shipment.
Wow.
Get $10 off the Rare Beer Club from the Micro Beer Brew of the Month Club. Use code SAVE10.
Now, do they send 1 bottle or a 6-pack, or how does that work? Do you have any information on that?
I do believe what it is you get an assortment of beers shipped to you every month. You pay a fee. So let's take a look at one right now, real quick. The Microbrewed Beer of the Month Club. You get 5 unique beers shipped to you every month from both international or U.S. breweries. And they list the different kinds there. These are the craft beers like Lucky Hop, Red Ales, Maze Hops. These are all like local microbrews all over the country.
Wow.
And like I said, there's a wine club if you're into the wines. You choose what type of wines you want. Cheese club, chocolate, cigar club. I'm thinking of doing the cigar club. I kind of like cigars. I haven't had one in a while. Just try it out.
I did say I would partake with you. We're doing a little outside gimmick, and we'll record right out of my front yard.
We'll check it out.
Those some lawn chairs on fire, man.
Please, folks, check it out. Check out these monthly clubs if you're a connoisseur of fine foods and beer and wine. Check it out and support your favorite podcast at the same time.
Amen to that. Speaking of supporting your favorite podcast, I am now proud to announce that the SummerSlam Party at the Deck, August 19th, 2018, 359 Boston Post Road in Westbrook, Connecticut, has raffle prizes. Now, the trivia contest will be paid with a $30 WWE Network gift card. Boom. That's the main event. That's the prize. But here are some of your raffle prizes. We have a Bootio's lunchbox, a Money in the Bank briefcase lunchbox, a Roman Reigns lunchbox, a Finn Balor Club lunchbox, a Miss Bliss Alexa Bliss lunchbox, another Money in the Bank blue, which I think is the ladies' one, lunchbox, and AJ Styles They Don't Want None lunchbox, a Seth Rollins Kingslayer lunchbox, a lot of lunchboxes. John Cena Respect lunchbox, a Bailey I'm a Hugger lunchbox.
That's my lunchbox.
You have to pay for the tickets to the raffle in order to win that. I can't just give it to you.
Come on.
A Shinsuke Nakamura lunchbox, AJ Styles replica gloves, a Sasha Banks 16-ounce beer mug, a New Day 16-ounce beer mug, a Hardy Boys Reborn by Fate beer mug, a WWE Women's Championship beer mug, and the WWE World Heavyweight Champion beer mug. 16 great prizes in the raffle. All you got to do is come out. It's $1 a ticket, $10 for an arm length, and
you gotta beat Jabroni so he doesn't get that New Day beer mug.
Yeah, I might swipe that before anybody's looking.
Fill that with beer and Bootio's and just drink it down.
Not at $13 a box, but if I got the Beer of the Month Club, I may go drop the $13 for a box of Bootio's at FYE and or I could go to loganjabroni.com/wrestling and do it that way.
You could
put a little money back into our own show. So now, guys, we've paid the bills. We talked about what's on our mind.
Good night.
It's time for the main event.
Sorry.
13 Reasons Why Season 2 was dropped about 2 months ago. And we were both excited. I know Angela and I binged, we do 3-4 episodes at a clip. And I want to know what the hell is going on upstairs. Can you hear that?
I can hear that. It sounds like
jackhammering.
Sounds like the New Day's upstairs.
Well, New Day rocks, so they're allowed.
Sounds like Bullet Joe getting tossed around upstairs.
Anyhow,
we love you, Bullet Joe.
Yes, we do. Bullet Joe, you are wide open door for you, man. Come on into the show. Let's have some fun. But season 2 did not disappoint. For me, the only disappointing thing was the very end. Again, if you haven't watched this show,
total spoilers. We're not holding back.
Spoilers are gonna happen.
This is an in-depth analysis of the show. We did this last year.
Mm-hmm. Great ratings too.
People seem to like our take on it. Here's the thing though. I think at the time you were saying you were kind of tuned out of episodic television. You kind of got this show. I think you said kind of sucked you back into it.
You know what it is? I like the fact that I can pick it up and put it down anytime I like. I don't have to worry about being home Thursday night for Grey's Anatomy or
like
any
a book.
Bullshit. Exactly.
Yeah, like a book.
So to me, I don't consider as much as it is, and that goes to Glow season 2, which we could certainly do a whole Glow episode if you ever wanted to.
I gotta start that one.
I'm already done with season 2, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, Angela and
I. This is a guy who made fun of me about that show.
It's all her, kid. It's all her.
Come on, you can't say you don't love that show.
Although the last 3, again, much like the first season, this season, the last 3 episodes had me like, I gotta see the next one. I gotta see the next one.
It started out as a slow burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can pick it up whenever I want. I don't have to be home at 8:00 Friday night. Oh, Glow's coming on. No, I don't have to worry about that.
See, I loved Glow when it was on TV. Like I used to watch it after like Saturday Night Live, like at 1 a.m. I was hooked in on that.
I'll buy it
because that's when I was really into WWF, folks. No EF.
Get the E out. And that doesn't sound as good, does it?
No. And and so Glow came on. I'm just like, oh, this is cool. You know what? At the time, you didn't see a lot of women's wrestling on WWF.
No,
it was
very rarely.
It was it was there once in a while
on Saturday night's main event, or if you went to like the house shows in Hartford, New Haven,
USA Primetime Wrestling would show a match or two, but it wasn't in the like right now. Women's wrestling is in the forefront, and it's starting to dominate.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't like that back then. So Glow was like finally seeing like something you never saw.
I listened back to one of our old episodes recently where I said I'm more excited to watch the women's wrestling. Oh, it was
Me too.
The interview with Joe Laurinaitis, Road Warrior Animal episode. Don't know when it was. Go look it up. You want to go to the archives? iTunes, Google Play Music.
Well, he's been on the show like 3 times. So
who? Animal only once. You're talking about Pitbull.
I thought you called him once.
We tried. He didn't answer the phone. Busy Jones, and Mike's trying to get him back for part 2. It's been 2 years. It's about time we get part 2 out of that interview. But no, you're right. The women's wrestling now completely off the charts. But
look at the ads. I was pulling up WWE ads, and all I see is women everywhere. It's like
Charlotte, Sasha, Asuka. Yeah, you're.
Looks like Trish Stratus is making a comeback, kind of. Like she was out of the game for a while.
She pops her head in now and again.
I saw her like in the front of an ad. So
oh yeah, happy married mother. But speaking of mothers,
back to the
there's a main character in this that, wow, the mom just crazy.
Basically the focus is really on the mom taking it to court when you think about it, and as people testify in this lawsuit against the school. For those of you who don't remember, Hannah Baker killed herself. There was these tapes that everybody passed around, and it kind of ended with basically everything just going to hell, and the school gets implicated. The
Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, and they couldn't put the pieces together.
Right, and it basically left with everybody contributed to this girl's death ultimately. And then this season comes in, and they go further with each of those kids, which at first I was kind of like, well, why wasn't any of this in the tapes? But it works. It actually worked. And overall, I gotta say, I didn't like the season as much as the first season, but it was still good.
See, I like them equal. But again, I'm going to wait till you get to the last Polaroid, as it were, or the last episode, where I thought the ending fell flat. And we'll talk about that when we get to the last episode. You remember I put out the message to you. I'm like, worst ending ever. Yeah. This is bullshit. I quit.
You know what? There'll be interesting discussion because I don't agree with you, but we'll save to the end. We'll save it to the end.
I think, and again, there was a way I saw it ending, and it didn't end that way. What's his name? Tony, the guy with the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about what I thought the ending could have been. I know I'm overthinking it, but I thought
it was going to go a certain way too. But I'll
bet we're so far off on the way we think.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Episode 1 was the first Polaroid. 5 months after the events of the first season, this is from Wikipedia, folks. Make it easy. 5 months after the events of the first season, Hannah's trial moves to court. Tyler is the first to testify in the trial and does so truthfully. Sky and Clay are dating, but Clay starts to hallucinate Hannah. Mr. Porter confronts Bryce in the bathroom about raping Hannah. Jessica returns to school, as does Alex, who survived his suicide attempt, but has lost much of his memory from before it, including the contents of Hannah's tapes. Tony is given the note Hannah left him the night she died and is later seen burning it. Clay finds a Polaroid photograph in his locker with a note saying Hannah wasn't the only one. And it was a Polaroid of somebody being molested, if I recall.
Correct. And we find out that it's a place called the Clubhouse. I know that's going to come up in a later episode, but what I took out of it basically set the table. The whole episode 1 set the table. You had
set the trial.
You had Jessica, you had Alex, you had Bryce, Mr. Porter. You have, like you said, Sky and Clay trying to build a relationship, and he is envisioning Hannah in the room, and they talk to each other. The first thing that came to my mind, and I don't think we've talked about this yet. Angela and I went over it a couple times.
He didn't talk to her in the first episode.
That's right. I thought if you
no, that's how the episode ended. Maybe Yeah.
Oh yeah, when she speaks out.
He
for the
sees
first
her
time.
throughout the episode, and then like by the end of the, I guess we can say it, by the end of the episode, she actually says something, and he's like, "Holy shit, you're talking to me!" Or that might have been the start of the second one. But
I said it in the first season when we broke it down that boy needs therapy.
yes,
And clearly he didn't get any because now he is talking to an apparition.
because he doesn't. And one thing about Clay, you'll notice in both season 1, season 2, is he doesn't really talk to his parents that much. He doesn't. Excuse me. He doesn't ever ask them for help. He doesn't really confide in them. Doesn't share his feelings with them.
He waits till everything's like at a boiling point before he says anything out loud.
Right. He tries to handle too much on his own, forgetting the fact that he is still just a kid in high school. Obviously, like in the first one, he's almost playing police detective, trying to figure out what's going on. He basically has a box of evidence,
right,
and that he carries with him, and listens
the box,
to
the map, and all of the things that Hannah left behind.
And so it made perfect sense to me that he would hallucinate, because he threw himself so much into the whole Hannah Baker suicide that he himself has so many unanswered questions that he's projecting her in a hope to get answers from her. And she pretty much tells him later in the show, "I can't tell you, because I'm not really here." She basically tells him, "I'm not really here. I don't know why I'm here.
You have to figure this out."
Right. So,
which I thought was fantastic for her to say.
Right. And basically, Hannah Baker becomes an extension of Clay's subconscious.
Right.
And the one thing I love that again, if you're going to watch this with your teen children, beware. There's a lot of sexual stuff that comes up. Showing him having those issues with his girlfriend was I think good for the whole narrative.
I can't agree with you more, because every one of us knows, to get to a new relationship, you have to come out of an old relationship. And in Clay's case, you have this girl who they kissed, they knew they liked each other, etc., so forth. Then things happened. Go back and watch season 1, or go listen to our take on it on the bonus episode in the archives. Now he has to deal with all that. I've always said it. Suicide is a ripple effect. You've done your deed. Boom, you throw a pebble in the water, and those ripples go on. Now Clay has one of those ripples, and now he's got this new girlfriend, his lifelong friend, Sky. But he can't correctly get over Hannah. And we all have that. Every one of us has a relationship at some point in time that has damaged us really, really bad, that sometimes it takes months, sometimes it takes years, but it's hard to get over because of circumstances. Now, I feel for Clay, because, the girl he liked, the girl he was in love with, took her own life.
And he's stuck in that initial plateau. When you first really get into somebody, there was no resolution where you're either rejected or you move to that next step. In his case, it's ripped from him. And now he's stuck in that kind of plateau.
It wasn't anything he did. It wasn't anything he said. It was just this girl thought, Hannah, that it was better off if I just kill myself and be done with it. But again, there goes that ripple effect. And that ripple effect in season 2, the waves get bigger. With a ripple, sometimes the waves, all the time, the waves get smaller as they branch out and then they fade away. Nope, the ripples go deep on this one. It was great. A great way to set the table.
Oh, and add to everything with Clay, the tape where from the last season got it in his head he didn't do enough to save her.
Yeah.
So that part is still fucking with him too. He has that guilt.
The funny thing that you said earlier, he tried to be a detective. He thinks he has to be Hannah's policeman going forward.
Yes, he thinks it's his mission in life is to give her closure. Which is, I think, is something all men do.
I'll agree.
We hate when we don't have control of things.
Very much so.
Not saying women don't get that way. We all know they do. But I think men specifically tend to
do
obsess.
not lie to me, Paul Blart. Do not lie to me.
Right. They'll obsess, or they'll just get angry when things just totally spiral out of control. And I think we see this a lot with Clay. And which we'll find out later pushes him to almost destroying his whole life.
Right. And I don't remember if in the first episode his conflict gets worse when his mother is actually the attorney for the school, if I'm not mistaken.
She works for the law firm.
Okay.
But she recused herself because she has a student in the school.
That's right.
So she's not actually. I think he was more mad that she wasn't on the case.
See, I took it a different way. I thought he thought that you should be supporting me, not them. But I work for the firm. But it doesn't. Yeah, and then
you're right.
There's that thing later on that we're going to talk about when we get to it, where he basically the ripple of that one. Clay creates his own ripple down the line.
Real quick too, we should talk about Tyler since he was the first one to testify.
That poor kid. Oh God, I know I have to wait. I know I have to wait. Oh, God.
Wait. Hold your wad.
No, it's not the wad. It's the pain. Oh God.
But Tyler, it's funny. Out of everybody who testifies in this trial, Tyler is the most honest.
Yes.
He is the most honest and thinks he's doing the right thing. And he ends up making it worse.
Oh, yeah.
He ends up making it worse for her.
And that's one of the things that came away with.
They twist him to be... Like, somehow the prosecutor almost twists him to be a victim of Hannah.
They did the same... I can't say it. They do the same thing later on.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So...
Stay tuned, kids.
So, shall we move on to episode 2?
Let's move on to episode 2.
Episode 2. My favorite title, Two Girls Kissing.
Hey...
Courtney reveals that she is a lesbian. We knew that.
Yep.
And had feelings for Hannah during her testimony. A group of protesters gather at the court to demand justice for Hannah, but Jessica and Alex are both threatened to avoid revealing anything incriminating when they testify. Sky and Clay fight over her suspicion that Clay is still in love with Hannah, and Sky is hospitalized soon after leaving Clay's house. Meanwhile, Tyler befriends a classmate named Cyrus. Ooh, Cyrus.
Oh, Cyrus. He was an interesting character.
Yeah.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of Cyrus in this episode. Part of the synopsis that you read, not just Cyrus, but the notes that were left in the lockers of Alex and Jessica.
There's threats throughout the whole season, and part of the mystery is who is leaving these notes.
And when we find out who's leaving the notes, it's just out the door, man. Great. Again, they all walk hand in hand with each other. This could have been put out as, if you're an epic guy like me who likes watching 3.5, 4-hour movies, this could have been an epic. But I'm glad they break it down in episodic television because it makes you think before you even hit that play button, what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica, probably of the people we mentioned, going back to school, Alex has a rough road because of the attempted suicide.
He can't remember anything.
Body damage. He's walking with a cane. He really doesn't like feeling that he is less than. But Jessica's got it the worst, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is fighting with the stigma of, she gets sexually assaulted, raped, basically, and didn't tell anybody. But now there's a whole group of people, and you've all seen it. Some of us have been victim of it when you walk in and all eyes are on you, and it's not in a good way. She has to deal with that every single day.
And there's the popular opinion throughout all school that she hooked up with Bryce and... she wanted him, he didn't want her, kind of thing.
Because that's the story Bryce told everybody.
So, and people approaching her with that. I don't know. Do we the Bryce's the cheerleader? Does she get introduced in this one?
I think no. I think it's the next one.
Okay, so we'll get on to that one. Yeah. But there is a stigma that everything was consensual and blah blah blah, yakety schmackety. Courtney revealing that she's a lesbian. We all knew that from the first one. She's an odd character because they don't really get into it too deep, but you find out her parents are gay.
Yes.
Like she has 2 fathers.
And she's adopted.
She's adopted. And for some reason, and this is later in the season, but we'll touch on it a little bit. She doesn't want to tell them because she's afraid they'll be disappointed. I found that kind of weird, but
that's kid logic, though. That's a 17-year-old mind thinking, well, if I tell them who I really am, there's a lot of kids that, I would say 80-20. 80% of kids go to their parents, whether they're adopted or natural, and say, hey, look, I'm gay. And 80% will go, that's wonderful. Everything's great. Well, no matter what you tell them. Then there's the 20% who'll go, that's not what I wanted for you. Fuck you.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder because she is the, she tries to be the picture perfect school, example of a perfect student.
Oh yeah, she was on the honor committee there,
and she kind of, I don't know, she just kind of, she has two gay parents that are openly gay, and I mean, obviously they're not hiding anything. They've adopted her, and she's holding in this idea that I'm the picture perfect student. Me being gay ruins that somehow. I don't know. It's just, I guess it could happen. I guess you still worry about disappointing your parents because you build that idea, there might not be grandkids, that kind of thing. But I don't know. She's an interesting case. I don't know.
I think she's a more tragic figure than a lot of people are going to give her credit for. And I'm glad you brought that up because, in my opinion, as tough as Jessica had it, she has the toughest road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not including Hannah's mom, because that's the toughest road of all. Courtney is just a very tragic figure. She's fighting with herself to figure out, how do I just basically be myself in the world? And that's something that I think every teenager struggles with. Well, I want to please my parents, but I want to please myself, but I want to go this way, but I want to go this way. You're never going to please everybody all the time. And once Courtney figures that out, later on, I'm sure we're going to
her character kind of changes a little towards the end.
Oh, yeah. And she becomes stronger.
Yeah, we can touch on that. And the testimony, though, the prosecutor totally, or the defending lawyer totally twists it that Hannah bullied her, and Courtney kind of caves to it.
That was very much horseshit.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
The most angry I got, other than the ending, was the courtroom scenes, because that's a child. No matter how you look at it, I use 20 as the benchmark. 20 and under, you are still a child.
Depending on your sex, because they say women mature quicker. So
I'll agree with that, but at the same time, that's still a child. There's still, you got puberty, which you've gone through. Now you have all these changes in your life. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? You have a lot of things going on in your head and that are force-fed to you by parents, administrators, school people, etc. Courtney's battling all that, and now she has this on top of it. So, to me, that tragedy that's going on in her head, she doesn't know which way to turn. And when we get to that later on, when she finds that strength, boom, she's off to the races.
Too, I think this is a missed opportunity too, because her and Clay never really encounter much of each other, and they have so much in common when you break it down.
You would think that they would be like besties by the end of this,
because they both had things for Hannah, and both got kind of robbed at the chance, and Hannah didn't seem too against the idea. So,
I think call. Women do it more than men. Because
they're less macho.
I can't remember. Well, there you go. I can't remember sitting as a teenager, because it never happened, where two guys are like, "Hey, what if we kiss?" That shit doesn't happen. Maybe now in 2018, right? Maybe in 2018 it does. But when I was growing up, what if we kiss? But I heard stories aplenty from high school all the way up till now. I was like, oh yeah, me and my girl, we kissed, and then and we tried it, and I'm like, wow, y'all chicks do that shit.
Yeah,
it was enlightening the first time I heard it. Now it's like, oh well, also that
because two girls do that, like we all get excited. Two guys do that,
Hell
we get weirded out.
That's tapes from behind enemy lines. We learn shit.
Exactly.
That's why we watch lesbian porn. Moving on.
Exactly. Real quick though, Sky inserts herself into dinner with Clay's parents.
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah,
because he was afraid to bring her home, because they obviously had an inkling that he had a thing for Hannah. Now he's got this girlfriend. He doesn't bring her around. She shows up. Everybody loves Sky. Hey, I love Sky. As a character, I thought she was the best.
Actually, Hannah even says, "I like her. She's good for you."
Yeah.
And so, which means that subconsciously,
the apparition, by the way.
Yeah, Hannah Baker. Which means subconsciously Clay thought that, like, she's good for me, but his subconscious is manifesting as Hannah, and it's messing with him. And the first indication that there's some problems with Sky is seen when she tries to jack him off under the table during dinner.
Well, if you're at 99 Restaurant, that's okay. If you're in front of your parents, that's no bueno Jones right there.
Right. So I don't care who you are. You try to do that in front of someone's parents, are going to freak out.
That's a little weird.
And it basically all transpires to her running off, and something happens where she ends up in the hospital.
They never really quite explain it,
Yeah.
by the way. I've watched the whole season. I don't know what her malady is. I still don't. I don't know if they're going to explain it in the synopsis.
Oh, I think they said she was. Well, we're going a little far, but
yeah, let's
yeah,
keep that to the side.
Keep Sky in your thoughts because she's going to pop up again.
I love her as a character. I just think
good.
she brought such a new perspective. Am I using the right perspective?
For Clay, definitely.
For Clay and for the show, because she's just irreverent. In the first season, she was just coffee barista girl who you already figured out she's a thing for Clay when he's at the coffee shop.
We should mention, and you find this out in the very first episode, she's a cutter.
Yes.
She does self-mutilation. So like I said, there are some, and with her getting overtly sexual in front of Clay's parents, she has some issues which basically culminate in her ended up being taken away in an ambulance for whatever reason. And we'll get more into that. So, like
quick Lizzie Borden connection, because Lizzie Borden was here 3 weeks ago on the show. Go check that out in the archives.
You listening, Lizzie?
Hope you are, brother. Awesome album.
My
Midnight Things.
Cool if he popped up and be like, "I love that show. Can I call in?"
Oh, I'd plug in the gimmick. I'd go run and get it. Lizzie Borden's song "Under Your Skin" is. If you watch the video, it's about girls self-mutilation.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the video, the girls that play the girls in the video is like, hey, this actually happens. Don't wait. Tell somebody your pain is real.
Yes.
Yada yada, etc. So forth.
Because eventually the cutting isn't enough.
Right. And that was one of the things that came to my mind when watching. And she cuts herself. I'm like, or he saw the mark. What's this? Nothing. And she covers herself up real quick.
And one of the many times they tried to have sex and failed.
Right.
So.
My thoughts were like, oh, that's terrible. And now I think about it. I have a teenage stepdaughter. I have a preteen daughter. How do you broach that subject? And I don't know if Sky's parents, they don't ever mention it. Did they have that conversation?
Well,
what have you?
Honestly, depending on the maturity level of somebody, anybody's child, watching this show together might be a good start to open up these conversations.
Not a bad idea. I know Angela and Madison, my stepdaughter, watched the first season together after her and I watched it. And I know they delved. I don't know how far they got, but I'm sure, a conversation should be had. And please, if you have a teenager, young lady, young male, whatever, from the ages of 13 to 18, sit down and watch this show with them. It'll make a world of difference. You can explain a lot of things from our perspective in our 40s, if you're in your 30s, what have you. Just talk to your kids.
This show can help kids see the early signs of harassment, assault.
I hate to stop you. I really do, because you're making a lot of great points. But not every...
Don't hold me.
Not every bad word that is said to a kid is bullying. Let's get past that right now. I know we're in the titty-sensitive 2018 where if I say to you, your shirt fits a little tight, now I'm body shaming. Oh my God, he body shamed. No,
I don't buy into the body shaming thing.
I don't buy into a lot of this crap. I told my daughter and my stepdaughter, there are 3 steps. Someone's picking on you, someone's bullying you, someone's hitting you. Go to a teacher, then you go to the principal, then you knock their fucking teeth out.
Yes.
You don't put those steps in reverse. Use these steps that I've given you that you should do. Go through the people that, oh, well, no, he's just playing. Okay, teacher says it's bullshit. Let me go to the principal. Oh, it's okay. They're just playing. All right, then. 3rd time, curl up a fist and make them eat their fucking teeth.
Yeah.
Done.
You know what was it? They used to tell us the sticks and stones, etc., etc.
Yeah, but a right fucking hand to your mouth is going to hurt a lot.
But so when the bullying is elevated, and you know what though, this show I think does a good job of it. It's not just name calling in the show.
There's the threats, there's the cyberbullying, there's the pictures. Oh my Lord!
This show doesn't like pussyfoot around the whole like, oh, he said mean things to me, but. Rumors are started, things like it's totally different level.
Roseanne gets taken off the air, but this show with all the bullying in it, oh, it's enlightening. Well, so was Roseanne, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
White trash needs an outlet too.
I resemble that remark. Where are we going? Episode 4?
Yeah, I totally I forgot where I go, but Episode 3. Episode 3, The Drunk Slut.
Here we go. Poor Jessica.
Clay, riding home on his bicycle, is hit intentionally by a car, injuring him slightly. He visits Sky in the hospital, but she breaks up with him. Clay and Alex try to encourage Jessica to reveal information about Bryce during her testimony, but she fails after seeing incriminating pictures of her stuck to a board in a classroom. Olivia asks her afterwards if she was the girl in the 9th tape, but Jessica does not answer. After discovering Jessica had been contacted by Justin, Clay finds him homeless in Oakland with Tony's help. With no other option, Clay lets Justin stay in his bedroom with him. Sky's parents move her to a psychiatric facility and tell Clay not to contact her. Tyler meets the rest of Cyrus's friends while Bryce is asked to testify.
Okay, moving into, let's go to tragic figure number 2, Justin.
Oh,
the things you're going to learn, again, if you haven't watched and you're listening now, feel free, and then go back and watch the episodes and whatever you got to do. Justin, second most tragic figure in all of this.
Yes.
Every time you think Justin's got his shit together, Justin finds a way to screw it up.
Justin has absolutely no support system whatsoever.
No,
his mother's an addict. She's dating the drug dealer that he stole money from.
Mm-hmm.
Justin
has
nothing.
The guy wants him dead.
Yeah.
The guys at school could give half a shit about him. His buddies. He was at one point in the first season living in Bryce Walker's pool house.
Right, and Jessica was his girlfriend, and he kind of allowed things to happen with Bryce and Jessica, and he's been dealing with that since the first seasons. It bothered him to the point that he ran away.
If you've watched the first season, Bryce is the head of the snake, and all the guys behind him make up that vertebra that slithers through the grass. Justin at one point was like Bryce's right hand. If there was a problem, Justin solves it. But now we move on. He runs away from home. He's in Oakland, and I thought it was fantastic the way they found out he was in Oakland. There's a scene where Clay is talking to Jessica. They're in Jessica's room.
Detective Clay.
He sees a postcard from Oakland. He takes it, and if you've never seen the first episode, here comes another spoiler. They went to a costume ball dressed as Sid and Nancy. Sid Vicious, Nancy Spungen. Very tragic tale. Go look it up. I don't have time to tell you. And I love that movie, by the way. Gary Oldman at his finest. And that chick that's been in everything that never amounted to anything. Anyway, moving. Courtney Love was in that movie, by the way. Go check it out. He turns it over and it says, Nancy, I'm okay, yada yada, Sid. Clay figures it out. Oh shit, he's in Oakland. Enlists Tony's help. They go and they see his Letterman jacket on just some random kid. Where'd you get this jacket? And Tony's the weirdest character of all. Openly gay,
the most masculine guy in the show. Like he doesn't fuck around.
This is a guy that'll whip your ass and then go home and kiss his boyfriend. But hey, what a great portrayal.
I fucking love Tony.
You know what?
He is awesome. The actor is fantastic.
Probably of all of them, my favorite character in the entire 2 seasons is Tony. Yes. First season, it was Hannah and then Tony. But now you see Hannah in bits and pieces because obviously she's gone. There's less focus on her and more on the characters. But man, Tony, this season, rise up, gather around. He is the guy.
Tony is like, he's the James Dean of the whole fucking show. Like, just kind of comes in there, all style, all attitude. And when I was watching it with my girlfriend, we kept saying the same thing. It's like, Tony is the most masculine character. He's the alpha male in the whole show.
Yes.
Because he doesn't really whine that much.
No, except once, which we'll get to in a later episode.
It's funny.
And even then he didn't whine. He just threw fists.
He reacts like a man.
Oh, yeah.
He's like...
See, I have to stop you. He reacts like a man, but,
that's how we are.
He's a gay man, but, I know there's that stigma that, gay men are swishy and everything's pink. And
that's what I'm saying. He breaks the stereotype.
Exactly. He breaks the stigma.
know. Here's the thing. I have known gay men like him, and I'm actually glad there's a character like that. They have stereotypical gay people in this show, and then you have Tony.
For the first whole season, I thought he was Fez from that 70s show, and then I found out that was not the case. It's not Wilmer Valderrama. It's another guy, but... again, my favorite character.
He's an awesome character.
Every time he shows up on screen, shit's getting real, and you're going to have a good episode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so Jessica's testimony is basically about the hot or not list and her friendship with Hannah and it also involved the Alex, her brief relationship with Alex. And the defense. I keep wanting to say prosecutor. The defense lawyer twists it around like Hannah was mad and jealous about them, and just her testimony makes things much worse.
You see in this episode though, because it's a flashback where Alex and Jessica are going to the movie together. Oh, maybe you should go in first. Maybe I should go, whatever. And then, Hannah's like, oh, you two are together? Okay, that's fantastic. It's that teenage boy or girl, doesn't matter. If you like a guy and your friend takes the guy, or if you like a girl and your friend takes the girl, sometimes that's a problem, and it causes a deep rift. So, having seen that, and you get the flashback moments, there was never an opportunity for Hannah and Jessica to have that conversation. Oh, well, you like this one, and okay, well, whatever. And then it moved on, because after the Alex relationship, there was Hannah like Justin, and who ends up with Justin? Jessica does. So in Hannah's teenage mind, it's every time I like a guy, this girl swoops in and steals him. Whether that's the case or not, you never know, because you have to remember there's a third party involved, and that third party doesn't know that you like them. Hannah doesn't know. Yes, they had a kiss together on the slide, and then there was the picture and the gimmick and all that bullshit in season 1. But then Jessica ends up with him. So in your teenage female mind, and this happens with males too, I'm not going to sugarcoat the issue. I had a buddy that I liked a girl, and he knew it, and
people are complicated.
He got the girl. I got nothing. But at the end of the day, it's the teenage psyche. They're still growing. You're a child at 17. You don't know everything. You don't have the world by the balls. What you have is this raging set of emotions and hormones that can either build you or destroy you. And in one case with Hannah, it destroyed her. In the case of Jessica, she rose, she fell, and as we find out in this season, she rose again. So Jessica was able to fight her way out of it. Hannah, unfortunately, not so much.
We should point out too, like, just to give you the level of damage that's going through Jessica right now. She's sleeping on the floor of her parents' room because she doesn't want to sleep alone.
Right.
I think they bring that up briefly.
Yes.
So this shit is affecting her like hardcore. She puts up a good front in school, but she is screaming inside.
Yeah, because sexual assault and rape are no joke.
No.
And if you have been through that, it does like damage that goes 30, 40 years if you let it, or, there's levels of therapy or self-help, or, religion if you're into that, or a lot of different things that can bring you back around. And I don't want to get too deep because we have a bunch more episodes to go through, but Jessica,
13 episodes for 13 reasons.
We've watched the rise, we've watched the fall, and through this season we watched the rise of Jessica again. But we're actually experiencing in these 13 episodes the fall of Jessica and then the rise. You don't see it in the first season.
And during this time too, Olivia, who is the
Hannah's mother, yeah,
who is separated from her husband because he couldn't take everything.
He's a prick, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no amount of words when we get to him. Oh,
yeah.
I got some words for you. Was his name Andy or something?
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with him.
Fuck him.
I wasn't too impressed with him. She thinks Jessica is the girl on the 9th tape, but Jessica won't confirm at this time. She doesn't bring it up in the trial or anything when she testifies. So that's a little side note that's kind of important. So.
Right.
So we'll move on to the next episode. The second Polaroid. Marcus lies about what happened with Hannah the night they went out on Valentine's Day.
Another fucking prick.
Yeah. That they went out on Valentine's Day during his testimony in order to protect his reputation. He briefly mentions Bryce angering him. Cyrus and Tyler hear of Marcus's lies and prank him, going to a nearby field afterwards to shoot guns. Clay finds out that Justin has been taking heroin, and he and Sherry, another good character, I like Sherry,
yes,
help him onto the path of sobriety. Jessica shows the threatening note she was left before her testimony to Mr. Porter. Alex continues to be frustrated about not being able to remember anything and asks Clay for the tapes, who sends them to him. Jessica and Alex skip school and share a kiss. Clay also finds a second Polaroid photograph in his locker, which shows Bryce having sex with an unconscious girl, along with a note saying he won't stop. Oh wow, yeah. This one was a little crazy.
Let me start.
Marcus. Oh,
I was gonna say, let me start with Marcus.
Can I have a gimmick before you start?
I'm gonna grab you a gimmick. You know what? I'm gonna actually start while grabbing the gimmick. Marcus is no different than any other propped up jackass I knew in high school. Unfucking touchable, it would seem. I won't name names, but there was a gentleman in high school that I went to high school with who he was a junior who raped a freshman. But because he was a star athlete, nothing happened.
Now, Marcus is a politician's kid.
Yep. He's also the student body president. He's also been, he got accepted to Stanford, am I right?
The kid's ticket
it's
is
funny
written.
How Stanford is in two of my favorite Netflix series, Glow 2, which you'll find out. Watch Glow 2. We'll do that later. And
we got to do Glow 1, though.
Yeah, watch all the glows and then come back and talk to us.
All of the things now.
Do it. Well, listen to us now and then go back and do it. Yeah. Marcus is that world-class piece of shit that thinks he's made of Teflon. And what we find...
The problem is he's not often wrong about that. He's not. What sucks.
He gets a pass on so many things. And this episode, as it started, this is the first time you see Marcus sweat. Not during the tapes. Because he was just, he just bullied Bryce.
Yep.
And that was it. When you get to whatever, you just stop and do this, and they all had the little hubbub meeting with Courtney and Marcus and everybody else. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do? This is the first time you actually see what kind of piece of shit Marcus is.
Yeah, he lies during the whole testimony.
Too many people I know like that who think I can tell whatever story I want. People are going to believe me because I smile bright and I have a resume a mile long and all this bullshit. And
we had a president like that.
We did. I loved him. God bless you, Bill. Although you're not dead.
Well, I meant the other one.
W or Obama?
Obama.
Don't say that too loud. We might get called racist. Anyway, moving on. We find out how much of a piece of shit Marcus is. Excuse me. Then this was another episode where Olivia comes more to the forefront, Hannah's mom, and she's starting to take a more direct interest in what these kids have to say. When you watch these episodes, you see at first she's mousy. She sits back. She doesn't do too much. In this episode, she actually started to come out of the shell a little bit.
Because she's heard the tapes. We should say that. She's heard the tape, so she knows each of their stories. Sort of.
You know what? I forgot about that because isn't it at the end of season 1, Tony delivers the tapes to her?
Yes.
Fucking Tony, man.
And then she turned them over to the police.
Correct. And then all of this.
Wait, on the side note, too, because I do discuss this, the tapes never get entered into any of this for, I forget what reason.
They call it hearsay because there's no way for Hannah to get on the stand and refute any of this. Or for anybody to challenge Hannah on any of this. But because she is dead, this was her statement. This was her what's the word I'm looking for here? This was her testimony, basically.
Yeah.
And there's no cross. You can't cross-examine a dead girl.
Right.
So everything she says can't be refuted, can't be questioned. It's hearsay.
Right.
And it sucks because, look, young girl kills herself. She gives you this roadmap to my demise, and they can't touch it.
No,
they can't touch a damn bit of it, and it kind of sucks.
Especially if you were as vested into the show as we were watching the first season, and everything you go through to find out the tapes, which were like such a focal point of the show, and were the moral arbiter of the whole show, are suddenly worthless.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you think about the way the system is, and just
I got so tied into that first season that we bought the book, and I tore through that book like nobody. You know me, I read like nobody's business.
I thought about reading. I haven't read it though.
You want to borrow it? I got it.
I'll grab it on Kindle.
There you go, and you can do that through lokiandjabroni.com/Amazon or whatever. Just go to our affiliates. Give me your take on this episode, because there's so many emotions just by what you read. We got Marcus, who is
Marcus is just so full of shit.
Mr. Porter has the spine of a jellyfish.
Marcus,
he wants to be forceful, but unfortunately the powers that be don't allow him to use his force, which kind of emasculates
which is
Mr. Porter.
Which is funny because, like they said, the way this summarizes it's very tame how he confronts Bryce in the bathroom. He fucking jacked Bryce in the bathroom.
I had teachers that jacked me up like that. You know what I did? I straightened my shit out. In 2018, you jack a kid up in the bathroom.
Next to Tony, you really start to like Mr. Porter. And
I liked him I liked him for the most part, 75-25 to the good in the first season, but that 25% of spinelessness, I couldn't get past. I couldn't get past it.
Here's the thing, like, he definitely fails.
Yes.
But he knows he fails, and we'll get into that later. Yeah, Porter, the entire school has completely taken Porter's nuts. And it's
from
really
the baseball
sad.
Coach to the principal to everybody else. His
coach.
Wife at one point, when we'll get to that in a future episode, his wife questions his manliness and basically emasculates him at one point.
Yes, she does.
So he's getting it from all angles. You want a man, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be real short, curt, to the point. If you want a man of the house, let the man be the man of the house. If you want a man to do this job in the school, let the man do the job. And this goes for women too. If you want a woman to do this job, you got to let them do the job. You got to let them do what they were put on this earth to do and let them rise. You cannot hold them down. Because the minute you hold them down, you're basically a hypocrite and you're saying, well, you can be a man as long as it's by my rules. Bye.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
Not buying it.
And Justin, so they try to detox Justin. Forewarn folks, when we watch the show, there is a lot of vomiting on Clay's stuff.
That kid lost more shit.
Yeah.
Because Justin yacked on it.
And seriously, I want to talk about Sherry for a second, because Sherry was
perfect, was an interesting,
glamorous, beautiful.
Oh, she was gorgeous.
And
she had a brief thing with Clay.
And there was the car crash she was involved in and everything, and I think she went away for a little bit because of that.
Yep.
But she comes back as one of them. I mean, she's still glamorous, beautiful, all that, but she comes back and she's like, okay, I'm here to help. How do we do this?
Right. She was a catalyst for the change that we all.
Yes.
When you watch this show, we all hope and pray happens.
So what's the expression? Rise up. Sherry rises up, and
Born to Rise.
Born to Rise. Sherry rises up, and she's probably one of my favorite characters.
It's funny
in
how
season.
Rise and Chris work together. I just don't understand it. I'm born to rise. I got Rise up. I get a rise in my genes. Kiss made Rise to it. Fuck it.
And briefly, Jessica and Alex, they kissed a little bit, and they had some problems because she kind of backed away or something.
Yeah, she wasn't. She wasn't ready. She's still emotionally scarred.
Yeah, still goes into everything, and but you find Alex still holds a candle for her, and
yeah, but she still got whether she admits
she's got
it or not.
Thing for Justin.
You bet your ass.
Justin's still madly in love with her and feels guilty.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're watching now on the live feed and you have a question you want us to go over, how many episodes have we gone over right now?
That was 4.
If you have any questions regarding the first 4 episodes, we're going to dive into number 5. If you have any questions about anything, man, please ask. We would love to give you our take on it, but let's move ahead.
Yeah, let's
to episode 5 while we wait for the questions from the peanut gallery.
The chalk machine. Tyler is confronted by Mr. Porter, who suspects he was behind the pictures of Jessica found in the classroom before her testimony.
He is a photographer, yeah.
But he denies involvement. Ryan testifies and talks about Hannah's poems, saying they were written about Justin and that she and Justin maintained contact even after falling out. Afterwards, Olivia invites Ryan to help her decipher Hannah's poems for additional clues, but Ryan soon leaves after Olivia mentions missing pages in Hannah's journal, which Ryan had torn out.
Okay.
Clay realizes the Polaroid photos were taken at school and attempts to find out where. Chloe meets with Bryce's parents, and his mother notices bruises on her. Jessica attends her first group therapy session. Mr. Porter finds a brick thrown through his car window with a threatening note attached. He later confronts Justin's mother and is arrested after a violent incident with her boyfriend. Real quick, this is the episode that I was like, I love Mr. Porter.
Oh, absolutely. That's where I really began. And we have a question, which after we're done breaking down this episode, it's a really great question, by the way. You see Mr. Porter's balls. He had to put his balls on the table because he finds the brick thrown through his window, and wife's like, what happened there? He gave some lame bullshit excuse because you
kind
can't
of protecting.
Right.
He doesn't want her to feel like she's in danger.
But when he whips Justin's mother's drug dealing boyfriend's ass,
skeet.
Oh Christ.
Oh my God!
No slow tugging on that one. I was fast tugging.
I was
shot it on the ceiling.
It
was so good. He got his balls back, and again, he's one of those characters that he was so emasculated in the first season. He spends the beginning of the second season so emasculated, and he got his balls back. And what does he get? Thrown in jail.
It's funny. He made it that episode. He makes a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's more important, my job, my career, which is kind of shaky already, or these kids? He chooses the kids, and he beats the fuck out of that man. He says it
very early on to baseball coach Jones, whether that's his name or not. I don't give a fuck. My job is not to cater to you. My job is to protect these children.
Yes.
And he said that, children, out loud. They are children. Don't, if you're 17 and you're watching this and you think you know fuck all about the world, come sit down here for 2 hours. We'll school you real good. They are children. His job is to guide and protect those children.
Basically, create a safe learning environment. That's what you're trying to do.
I don't remember how late at night it was. I don't remember if Angela was awake, but I had the little fist pump action going, kick his ass, fuck that guy up. And then you see the scene where he's doing the Caparena. He gets the hands behind the back. He gets shoved in the car. He's got a forlorn look on most of his face. His eyes were still intense. He was like, I'd do this again. I would do this tomorrow.
It was beautiful.
And I know I'm focusing too much on Porter in this episode, but can you go back to the synopsis? Give me like the brief rundown of different characters.
Yeah, we went over the climax of the episode where Porter steps up, and it was great.
He became a hero for the rest of the fucking series.
The big thing with this one was Ryan testifying about the poems and helping Hannah's mom decipher some of them. I gotta confess, I'm not a fan of Ryan.
No, he comes off as smarmy as fuck.
He's kind of opportunistic like Marcus.
Yes.
And I think he tries to turn it around in this season, but I couldn't get
too little too late.
Yeah, I couldn't get past he had published Hannah's poems without her permission and basically put her on blast, and she wasn't prepared for it. Even though I think it was marked anonymous or something. I don't even remember, but being someone who writes, I find that criminal.
I can't disagree. I cannot disagree.
He basically stole intellectual property for all intents and purposes.
I love that phrase.
And, I have some issues with that.
People have stolen our intellectual property, and I'm told, let it go. Fuck you. Anyway, but, in this case, you're taking this girl's innermost thoughts, and you're, like you said, put her on blast.
Yes. Real quick, just Barbara Jean.
That's the question.
Yeah, this show was traumatizing. Like, I was not okay for 2 or 3 days after finishing season 2. Anyone else feel that way? I can't say I was traumatized, but it makes you think.
Oh, there were many discussions in this house about, as the teens and the preteens grow up, and how do we have this conversation, and what do we say, and what do we do? I wouldn't say traumatizing. I would say eye-opening.
Yes.
Because
I felt that way about the movie Kids. I don't know if you ever saw Kids.
Love that film.
Yeah,
it's freaky as fuck when you think about it.
I would say this show and Kids should be required viewing for any teenager.
Kids was 96-ish.
Yeah.
And now we're in 2018, so yeah, that's a great comparison. But no, I had this conversation with Angela, the Eternal Flame, the Goddess of Love, who was upstairs. Love you, kid. And there's just, how do we do this? We have a teen, we have a preteen, we have this world where they're basically now in 2018 led to believe everything is rainbows and peach colored and all this bullshit, and then they're gonna hit the real world. And in the real world, it's dog eat dog, and you're wearing milk bone underwear. It's not fun. I'm not here to raise a friend. I'm here to raise someone who's going to be ready for adulthood. And I think we're doing a good job of doing just that. But, man, I can't say Barbara Jean, to answer your question, I don't know if traumatized is the right word, and I see you've
well, yeah, she says I wasn't necessarily traumatized, but I was affected for a few days.
I think we all were
with those issues and having a daughter and how scary it's going to be. Yes, that's kind of what
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah,
with you, your husband, your daughter, me, Angela upstairs, my ex-wife, who whatever, she's my ex-wife, but we're all in the same boat. And again, this series, every time, the first season, now the second season, if there's going to be a third season, I don't know where they're going to go, but I'm so curious to find out where.
All I know is Hannah Baker is not going to be in it. The actress already said she's not in season 3. Her story is closed.
I don't want to ask. I don't want to speculate till the end. But it affected me in a lot of ways because I did think about it a lot. I went back to I threw the Lizzie Borden reference out earlier, under your skin with the cutting. You can point to the bullying, you can point to the rape, you can point to the partying, you can point to any number of things. And I go, is that going to be my kid or my stepdaughter or what? Oh my God, the emotions ran high. I wouldn't say 2 or 3 days, but hey. Let's face it. What does Lee have to say?
Lee Cody says this is the last place trophy generation. I disagree.
You would.
This is the win last generation.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Eddie's
last
right.
place.
Eddie's
you
right.
all won last. That's what George Carlin actually said that.
Yep, you win. Nowadays you can win in last.
Congratulations, kids! You all won last.
Again, Barbara Jean, I know you. I know your daughter. I know she's young. My daughter is 10. My stepdaughter is 13. There's a lot of things that I know we're gonna have to deal with going forward. It does scare me, and it does affect me. Again, traumatized, like you said, may not be the correct word, but boy, does it make you think. It gets the gears going, and I think that's why I like this series so much, because it does. It forces you. It doesn't give you the opportunity. It reaches out and grabs you by the throat and says, "You're going to pay attention to this."
And it's not watered down either.
No, and it makes you want. It makes you want to see the next one.
There's a particular scene which I'm not going to talk about now
because it comes up later.
Completely. It basically wraps up one of the characters in one moment, and I'll wait till we get to that one. Let's
amen to that. Moving on.
Let's just move on. So the chalk machine.
We are on the smile.
Yeah, basically Ryan's an asshole.
Ryan can go fuck a bag of dicks.
Yeah,
he would enjoy it.
Yeah, he's another gay character.
Not that that's wrong, but he's a smarmy prick.
He is. He's an opportunistic. You know what he is? He's a typical newspaper editor.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Amen to that.
All right. Episode 6, the smile at the end of the dock. Zach testifies and reveals that he and
oh my
this is the
God,
big one.
The plot twist to end all plot twists.
Zach testifies and reveals that he and Hannah had a romantic relationship the summer before she died, but they kept it secret. After the testimony, Clay reacts angrily and confronts Zach, ignoring his apologies, while Bryce teases Zach about his relationship, prompting a small fight between them. Justin returns to school and talks to Jessica, but she asks him to leave. He then faints after seeing Bryce, and on his return to Clay's house, has to hide as someone breaks in, at which point Clay's parents find out that he has been staying there but allowed to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Zach's the one that testifies, and apparently him and Hannah had a pretty torrid affair over the summer.
Hibbity dibbity. They were doing the dirty, and you know what? Look,
and it was probably the only positive thing in the show.
The plot twist that nobody, and I guarantee anybody who watched this second season, nobody saw that coming. When they first said that, we had a sexual relationship. Oh! What? Are you what?
Yeah.
And the whole episode is just them like, I want to look into this, and me too.
And Zach is the picture perfect mama's boy, athlete, ticket written. And you find out to
me, he's tragic character number 3, because he's torn between what he wants to do and what his mom wants him to do. And that comes to a head later on, which we'll find out. But, that fucks with Clay a lot when he finds out.
Yeah. Yeah. That.
But the thing is that was, everybody has a coming out party. Everybody has that moment, that relationship, that I don't want to say fling, but in this case, unfortunately, it kind of was a fling that breaks you through to the other side, to steal a phrase from the Doors. That was Hannah's coming out party.
Which actually, this is the sad part, that Summer Fling could have been more if not for Zach saving face.
Right, because, oh, hey, so-and-so's having a party tonight. Oh, we should go together. No. I think I should go by myself, and you should show up.
Yeah,
and everything is horseshit. And
yeah, Zach puts his image and his.
But I think that partially goes back to the pressure that his mother puts on him, because he lost his father a year or so earlier, if I'm remembering the timeline correctly. So now mom is the be-all, end-all. I have to please my mom.
She seems like I'll probably get the nationality wrong, but she's a traditional Asian,
I think you're
mother,
right.
And he's a more modern American kid who he has his hopes and dreams, but he loves and respects his mother.
Correct.
And he doesn't like to anger her.
There's nothing I can say to defute that, because when you first started saying it, I was like, oh, I got a defense. But then you finished. I'm like, oh, shit.
No, there even though they're of the same culture, there's still that culture clash. There's a generational gap, and it ends up, his conflict ends up killing whatever he could have had with Hannah Baker. And
when you see how they interact together, guys, I know it's a TV show, but work with me here. When you see how they interact together, they were damn near the picture perfect couple.
They were.
And because of...
And they like doing it.
Oh, did they like doing it? But again, that social structure that, he is super jock boy and mama's boy, and that's two things that's not like chocolate and peanut butter. That's like chocolate and acid.
Look, out of 26 episodes of this whole show, this is the only time you'll ever see sex in a positive light.
Correct.
That's the only time I've noticed. And it even
good call by you.
Even goes into, it's Hannah's first time, it's his first time, and they go from the awkward sex to they finish. Can we do it again? We can totally do it again. That
to be young and virile.
Oh God, yeah.
That's where I'm going to stop that.
But it's heartbreaking. It builds it up, and it's heartbreaking when you see the way he ends it.
I hate to say this because I'm going to get shot when I go upstairs, but when the more they're going into the aspects of the sexual relationship, my mind immediately shot to the final speech. Have you ever seen the movie The Ladies' Man with Tim Meadows? Where he's like, treat your ladies right. Ask her questions like, do you like flowers? Do you want to do it in the butt? No, let's move on. And that's all I could think about.
Do you want a fish sandwich?
So, we cannot have a fish sandwich? Do you want to do it in the butt? Okay, let's move on.
Man. Yeah, so
they really did, in my opinion. You see them at the end of the dock. You see them at the park. At the overlook, and they're just so good together. And it really does. Now it introduces you a little more into how not only how fragile Hannah's psyche was, but how much that affected her going forward.
Right. And the weird thing is she never mentions this on the tapes, which is kind of weird. So it was almost like guilt
by omission?
Well, I complained about it at first. Like, I remember when I was watching with Amy, I complained about that. Like why wouldn't you have that on the tape? Because he kind of rejected you in favor of his ego and everything, or his fragile whatever. And I actually thought about it, and I was like, I think she liked him so much that she was trying to protect him a little, and that's why she left it out of the tapes.
I'll agree.
That's maybe I'm just pulling that out of my ass, or it's just a continuity error, but that's kind of how I felt after I thought about it.
No, that's not a bad synopsis.
And Zach is a victim of, like I said, his own ego, and it's tragic. I agree.
Is it ego, or is it trying to fit in? And that's where I had.
He doesn't have a problem fitting in with anybody. That's one thing I noticed about his character.
But everybody in this season, he did. If you watch, the more he stood up, the more he got ostracized.
Yeah, but he's still. What's the word I'm looking for?
This season is so much more deep than the last one.
He's Alex's physical therapist, for lack of a better word, and he never quits Alex. Never quits Alex. He never quits Clay and them.
Do you think that maybe
never quits? Even doesn't quit Bryce and them. He fits in with everybody.
Do you think that's maybe his own inner guilt speaking to him?
No, I think because in the season 1 he was a very likable guy. Everybody liked him.
Sure. So was Marcus, but then we found out he was a fucking cunt. Sorry.
No, Marcus was always a douche.
Yeah.
I didn't like Marcus in the first season.
Fuck Marcus.
You know what? Every school's got a Marcus.
All Marcuses.
Don't be a Marcus.
Don't be a Marcus. That's a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's
we're gonna make that on Loki and Jabroni cafepress.com /.
Don't
Netflix,
be a Marcus. Please don't sue us. Don't be a Marcus.
Next episode.
I'm gonna put that. Don't be a Marcus.
Hashtag Netflix don't sue us.
All right. If you folks would buy that, let me know. I'll have it put up there. So
chime in if you want to buy that T-shirt. Chime in on the live feed or send us a message on Facebook.
And basically, Bryce.
Was there another character?
Jessica, no.
Fuck Bryce.
Well, I'm just saying the Bryce.
The less I talk about him, the less hot I'm gonna get.
As we go further, it's more. About
I know.
him, so.
I'm waiting.
So let's go into episode 7.
If you guys have questions, please send them in. We're breaking this down episode by episode. Fuck Bryce.
Lee Cody says the Browns have been Super Bowl champs for many years.
Well, that's in the you win in last place gimmick that you said.
Good
0-16, raise that trophy high, kid.
Robert Gene Smith, it does indeed make you think. Well, that's what good television should do, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Same with movies. I could sit and watch a movie like The Hangover, and you don't have to think about a fucking thing.
No.
And you have a good time. Ted, same way.
That's escapism. It's perfect.
Right. But when I watch a movie that I want to get involved in, whether it's a gangster movie or a biopic about, say, Whitey Bulger or Ronald Reagan or whomever, I want to get lost in the story, and I want to have to think. I want to have to, my gears have to be rolling.
Yeah.
And the more I think, the better it is.
I agree.
That's why people hate the books I read. I'm like, you want to read this book? No. Well, you're an idiot. Fuck you. Next.
The third Polaroid.
Uh-oh.
During
this was bad.
Oh, Clay testifies. During Clay's testimony, he's forced to reveal he and Hannah did drugs at a small party one night and spent the night together.
It was a hit of never
ecstasy.
mind.
It was ecstasy. They do ecstasy.
I'm
and Clay
shutting up.
Clay ignored a comment Hannah made the next morning about wanting to die. Alex's birthday party is derailed after a number of arguments break out. When Clay leaves a birthday party, he finds
Hello, Ramil. I just read. Eddie, I gotta stop you. Ramil, thank you for watching. I used to work with Ramil. He's a really great guy. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you've watched 13 Reasons Why, man, have a good time listening to this. Continue on, Edmund, Eddie Jones, Eddie Van Halen.
Triggered.
Fuck it.
I'm going to be making 13 tapes now. All right.
Make sure I'm number 3.
Where was I? Alex's birthday party, a number of arguments break out. When Clay leaves the birthday party, he finds a Polaroid photograph left on his car with a note reading, "The Clubhouse." After reading comments posted online about his testimony, Clay anonymously uploads Hannah's tapes to the internet. Meanwhile, Bryce is seen having sex with Chloe without getting proper consent.
Okay, so from all of that, I'm going to go to Clay first. Then I'm going to go to Bryce. Clay, when these tapes came out, and that's the entire first season, everybody in that 13-person block, I think, somebody had 2 tapes, right? Clay had 2 tapes, so you have a 12-person block.
Everybody had 1 tape.
Are you sure? Can you look back? Because I'm pretty sure.
Clay.
Didn't Clay have 2 tapes?
Clay made a tape.
All right.
Remember Clay set up Bryce?
Yes.
Well, he didn't set him up, but
okay. Thank you for the clarification.
So Bryce kind of had 2 tapes.
So in that 13-person block, you have all the twists and the turns and the go around and whatnot. They were meant for those 13 people. Now, what you don't know, again, spoiler alert, guys, we're not hiding anything. Clay busts into his mom's computer, and they have the tapes, and he sends them out anonymously. Now the whole town has these tapes. Everybody is up in arms. Who did this? Who did this? Who did this? We got to find out who did this. Oh, my rep is shot, and this is shot, and this is shot, this is shot. The whole thing that bothers me is that everybody's worried about their rep instead of what they did, what they caused, if they caused anything. Because again, I can go back to the first season and say,
my kid mentality.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
there's so many things that when you go back to these tapes, certain people had more implication than others, and others were just like fringe, like poet guy. What's his name? Ryan. Less. Bryce, more. Clay, less. Justin, more.
I think
so. There's a certain dichotomy that you can't ignore, but Clay putting these out on the internet, this is where I lost faith in Clay. Not only is he fucking hallucinating and seeing Hannah Baker, oh my God, that guy is psychotic beyond belief in this entire series until the last fucking episode, but he basically betrayed the trust of everybody, from the mother, Tony, Jessica, all these people that love him, help him, are cuddling him.
He put his mom's job at risk.
Right, not coddling. They're cuddling him. They're saying, we're all in this together. We can, together we can serve Hannah's memory.
But Clay makes decisions on his own.
Exactly. And this was a dick move on Clay's part. Now, the second part, Bryce. I've said it when we did the first one. I'm going to say it now. Fuck Bryce Walker. I'm not going to say with what, because that will come up later on in the synopsis. Fuck Bryce Walker. He is Marcus to the nth degree. Bryce Walker is, I can do whatever I want, and I'm just going to wipe it off my shoulders, and everything's going to be fine, and I can continue this bullshit behavior my whole life. And on top of that, we all know someone in our personal lives that act like that. So to watch this one episode probably infuriated me more than any other episode.
We should bring this up too, because throughout the whole episode, most of these parents live in a bubble.
Yes.
The only parent that doesn't seem to live in a bubble is Bryce's mom.
Oh, is she not the most upfront?
Right. Bryce's dad lives in a bubble.
Oh, yeah.
About Bryce.
My hair is perfect.
His
and
own
my feet
mom,
don't touch the ground.
The woman who gave birth to him, thinks he's a fucking rapist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. She thinks her own son is a fucking rapist.
And when she brings it up, the husband's like, "That doesn't happen. It's not real. Thank you."
Yeah. And she even confronts Bryce about it, and Bryce even says to his mom, he's basically untouchable, back the fuck off. Like, get out of my face, woman. Like
because I'm a high school baseball star
and football star. They play both.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good call. Because they weave in between in the episodes.
I mean, I'm not even sure if it was this episode. If it's not, I apologize. But I think this is important. The interaction he has with his mom and the way he brushes her off when she talks to him about it.
And she comes straight
out
like
with
a bulldozer.
And the way he brushes her off is all the proof in the world that you need that Bryce does not view women as human beings.
No.
Even his own mother.
Mm-hmm. You're subservient.
Right. And you later learn that's true with this very special scene, which I'll bring up towards the end.
Which, when we get to it,
yeah.
Fuck Bryce Walker.
Yeah,
If you guys have questions, send them in. Let's move on.
We should talk about Chloe, the girlfriend.
Oh, is she not just the most fucked up of all of this? On one hand, she's heard all the rumor and innuendo about Bryce. Mm-hmm. On another hand, and I know you can't have three hands unless you're in the circus, but on the other hand...
In this show, I think you can. There's fucking hands everywhere.
Quite possibly.
In places they shouldn't be.
On the second hand, she has her cheerleading gimmick and all these friends, Jessica included, because Jessica tries to ingratiate herself.
She is how Jessica started out in the beginning of the show.
Exactly. I was going to get to that. Yeah. On the third point, she is a tragic figure like Jessica. She's tragic figure number 4 in this season, that she wants to believe the good in everybody, but she finds out not everybody's good.
Right. And I don't know, she's got a thing for Bryce bordering on, I think it's just the head cheerleader has to be with
the head
star
jock?
quarterback or whatever he is, the pitcher for the baseball team. And at first,
he was a pitcher, wasn't he?
He is a pitcher, and I think he was the quarterback for the football team.
I think so, because
they touch on football, I think, in the first season, and they do flashbacks, I think, in this one.
Right. Well, because Hannah goes to the football game, and Zach in the helmet and all that bullshit. Yes.
In any case, Bryce is the star jock with a rich family, who ironically his rich mother thinks he's a rapist. Wait,
funny how that works.
I thought that was so funny. The one person that's just like, I don't buy your bullshit, is his own mom. When every other parent in this show is kind of, I mean, they care, and a lot of them are really protective, with the exception of Justin's mom, obviously, who was just fucking gone.
Right.
But I was just so like, wow, Bryce's own mom thinks he's a piece of shit. And can you imagine being the one that gave birth to that monster?
Could you imagine for a minute? Now, she's the opposite of a lot of parents I know. she is the one that she says, I gave birth to a monster. This is nobody in my immediate circle. So Eddie, Mike, anybody who I know that I interact with on a daily basis, I'm not referring to you.
It's me.
It's not you, dumbass. Shut up. She sees the bad in Bryce. She calls him out. There are parents that will ignore it, like the father, where, nowadays I see parents whose kids have major issues that they just brush off. Oh, it's just ADD. It's just this. It's just any number of the, I call it the hockey jersey mentality. Give me a 5-letter designation of what my kid is, and I'm gonna ignore it.
Because at first, she comes across as being one of those rich parents because she doesn't care for Chloe that much, or she gives that impression. Mm-hmm. What does this girl want? This, that, and the other thing, and then only later, it's almost like she just wants to keep Chloe away from him. And
or does she want to keep Bryce away from Chloe?
Right. Well, yeah.
That's what came to my mind watching this episode. Is like she's worried about the girl more than she's worried about Bryce.
And the father is just like, find a woman and
useless.
Share your legacy and
typical rich cocksucker. Yeah. Next episode.
Yeah.
Send your questions.
Clay's testimony basically talks about his friendship and the drugs, and they do ecstasy and
they trip.
And Hannah talks. Clay does kind of fuck up. She did talk about killing herself, and he never said anything.
Full disclosure, I've gotten shit raving drunk and talked about suicide. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it.
I've been in the rave scene. That shit makes you depressed. And if Clay was feeling the same way she was, you're not going to really think that much about it.
And we talked about it during the suicide episode however many, whatever ago. I had suicidal thoughts as a teenager, but I'm still here. So obviously it wasn't that strong. So, you can take something. If Eddie says, I had the worst day of my life, I think I'm going to kill myself. You know what I'm going to say? I'll see you on Tuesday. Because I know you're going to fucking be here.
Yeah.
It's just that particular notion in these episodes kind of pissed me off because there's not a teenager on earth that hasn't said at one point in jest or in seriousness, I think I'm going to kill myself. I could just think about ending it all. And everybody goes,
most adults are probably
99% don't do it. Unfortunately, there is that percentage that does it. And I feel for every one of them. I really do. Because it's that ripple effect. Your pain is over. Somebody else's pain continues.
Part of the outrage you feel about this too is because the catalyst for her going over the edge with it was Bryce.
Mm-hmm.
Basically
fucking Bryce Walker.
Yeah, and so
I don't even, what, there's a chance that the Yankees are going to pick up Bryce Harper from the Nationals. I don't even want Bryce Harper on my team because his name is fucking Bryce. I would rather finish last than have Bryce Harper on the Yankees because his name is fucking Bryce. Fuck Bryce Walker.
Yeah, no one's going to ever name their kid Bryce ever
Never
again.
If you watch this show, the Bryces are done. I worked with a kid named Bryce. He's one of my employees, and every time I look at him, I'm like, Bryce Walker. He goes, don't call me that. I've watched the show. Well, really? You're Bryce Walker. Fuck.
All right. Episode 9. This is a big one.
The title was
when the missing page.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. No, I skipped one.
Episode 8.
I'm sorry, I skipped one. Episode 8. The little girl. After the release of the tapes, Bryce returns to school and finds his locker vandalized and his confession tape, Clay recorded, being shared among students. After Marcus is blackmailed, he calls Bryce a rapist during his speech at a ceremony in front of a large group of parents and students in order to protect his own reputation. Clay finally contacts Sky again and meets with her at the psychiatric facility, but she tells him she is moving to a different state. Justin overdoses on heroin, but Alex saves his life and then returns to his mother's home.
Once again, we go to Justin, where a more fantastic shit show you will never see.
Yes.
Not enough that he has a family that has taken him in, free room, free board. They had movie night together in one of these episodes where he's sitting eating popcorn and Clay shows up and he's like, really? This is what's going on? You barely fucking say hi to me, but you're having popcorn with Justin. All right, cool. I'm gonna go upstairs.
That shit bothered me.
It bothers me to death for a lot of reasons, which I will not bring up. No. I identify with Clay in this episode.
What? No, I think Clay was being
If I have to name names, I will. But when your own family takes an outsider and treats them more like family than they do you, big fucking problem.
My issue though is, first of all, Clay brought him there. Okay, so it's not like they took this kid off the
under
street.
the radar.
Clay brought him there.
Yep.
Clay has, throughout the entire show, pushed his parents out of all the issues. They barely know what was going on with him. Matter of fact, at one point, actually, no, that wasn't his parents that did it, but he never really involves himself with his parents except for dinner. You know, Justin.
That's typical teenage bullshit, though.
Justin's fucked up in the head, and they know that, and they're trying to give the kid some normalcy because his mom's a fucking drug addict.
I'll buy that part.
You know, so Clay overreacted. I think it was a combination of him being fucked up and angry that he's not the one that got to sleep with Hannah, and
I might buy that,
and among other things. And Justin didn't think he was doing anything wrong. Justin's just trying to keep from going back on the smack at that point.
But he keeps falling back.
Right, he does. But
all right, look.
My thing is, what were his parents supposed to do? Stay in your room and know your place, junkie?
No. But you don't... Oh, see, very difficult. That's another episode for another time. We may have an episode like this about family bullshit like that.
I'm just saying, Clay brought him into the house.
I found Clay as a sympathetic character. Season 1, he was the sympathetic character.
Yes.
In this season, you had 5 sympathetic characters. When Clay walks into the house and sees the guy he brought in, the guy who continually falls off the wagon, the guy who continually pukes on his stuff, the guy who continually tries to run away, to the point where there's a rotating list of people from Alex to Tony to Sherry to others. Sherry, am I getting that right?
Sherry.
Having to watch Justin so he will not leave the hovel. And now they're treating him as if he's their little boy. Oh, that's horseshit. That's horseshit.
But
to the nth degree.
Clay brought him there. He's there. Clay's never home. Clay's always off doing God knows what. Again, what are you gonna do with this kid? Just fucking put him in a hole?
That made Clay a very sympathetic character to me.
And see, I thought that was the douchiest Clay ever was. Because first of all, it's not like his parents make lots of attempts to include him. They even buy him a car.
Yes.
So his parents are there. They bought him a Prius.
Like
they bought him an older Prius.
Right.
So his parents are like his mom especially, you know, she's withdrawn from anything to do with the case to be there for Clay and everything. And so they make all the attempts in the world, and Clay just kind of I ain't got time, Mom. I gotta go. So no, Clay was being a douche. He overreacted.
Again, hindsight from my teenage years and friends of mine's teenage years, and I hope I never do this to my stepdaughter or my daughter, but at what point ever do those two parents, no matter how much they fight, and we'll get into that, I'm sure the next episode leads into that, because if I remember my timeline correctly, the next episode introduces a big split.
Yeah.
At what point do those parents sit down and say, you know what, the floor is yours. Tell me, from the bottom of your heart, your deepest, darkest, talk to us. We will shut up for 30 minutes and you just dump yourself.
Well, his parents have a communication problem in this whole show, which explodes later.
Correct.
Yeah.
But there's at no point where they make that, they extend that olive branch and say,
they get pushed.
You know what? Oh, of course they do.
They get pushed.
But if you really want to know the inside secrets, all you have to do is sit down and say, you know what? I know you're dealing with pain. I know you got a lot of things on your mind, whether you're 17, 37, 47, or 107. I'm going to give you 30 minutes. The floor is yours. Vent. And at the end of 30 minutes, I'm going to have questions. When I ask the questions, just please give me answers. I guarantee that at the end of that discussion, everybody's heart is lighter, everybody's mind is lighter, everybody's soul is lighter.
There's one more thing too I think we're neglecting, because Clay uploaded those tapes that had a timestamp attached,
had a watermark to the
legal firm.
Yes.
So if that was my kid,
that's why I called it a douche move.
If that was my kid, I'd probably walk up and be like, you know what? You almost put my entire career, all my legal school and all that in jeopardy. Justin's my new kid.
What
Fuck
did,
you.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
Slap.
Slap.
But yeah, so I'm sorry for those couple episodes, Clay. I just think is the biggest.
This one
douche.
is probably the biggest conflicting episode that we're going to have because I see it a different way. You see it a different way. Everybody has.
Yeah. The testimony is Andy and Olivia Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Where this is
his name is Andy.
Yeah,
fuck
Andy.
you, Andy.
Where
Andy
you
Baker.
find out Andy was cheating on his mom, cheating on Hannah's mom, and
prior to.
Yeah, and Hannah caught him.
Yep. And it wasn't revealed in the tapes.
Nope.
I actually was surprised when this came out that there wasn't a tape for Andy.
Right.
In the box of 13.
Well, I think they made a deal that if he broke it off, she wouldn't bring it up. So.
But he didn't, which we find out later.
Yeah, we find out later. And Andy gets crucified on the stand, and Olivia gets crucified in the stand, as they kind of imply she neglected her daughter. And that's why things happen.
See, I'm going to go back, and because everybody has a different mindset, we could read the same book and come up with this 2 different synopses of the book. I think Olivia was not only a doting mom, but she was a doting wife. She cared about every single aspect of the daughter's life, the husband's life. The husband sought elsewhere. The daughter, look, I was a teenager. You were a teenager. There might be some of you out there listening that are teenagers. We don't tell the entire fucking truth when we're teenagers.
No, definitely not.
You know, my pain was not my parents' pain. There are things that I omitted from my teenage years that now I'm more comfortable talking about at 45 years old. But at 17, wasn't ready. Didn't want you to know. Thank you, fuck you, bye. Not going to do it. Olivia was as in tune with her daughter as she could be based on what was shared with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's tragic figure number, what, we're up to 6 now?
Yeah.
Olivia is very much in the dark about all of this until she hears the tapes, and she heard them when Tony gave them to her at the end of the season 1. Now she's armed with this knowledge, and she understands that this is what I could have done. This is where I could have gone. This is the roadmap to how I could have helped my daughter, but she never told me.
Right.
Bingo.
Yep. Well, the defense lawyer does a good job of skewering both of them.
The defense lawyer, while she is cute, can suck all the dicks in the bag.
You know what, though? She's just doing her job.
Understood.
Everyone's entitled to representation.
If you guys want to see a great series, go to Oxygen. It's called In Defense Of. There's a Ted Bundy episode. There's a Jodi Arias episode. I tried to watch Jodi Arias one last night. Fell asleep. Sorry, Jodi. You're in jail. You can give a fuck. You slaughtered your boyfriend. Fuck you. These are people that will tell you in a 1 hour time frame how their conscience and their beliefs wrestled with each other while they're trying to do their job. And it ties right into this series. Check it out, please. It's called In Defense Of.
Any like every defense lawyer will tell you when they first talk to you, listen, I don't want you to ever tell me if you did it or you didn't do it. That's not why I'm here.
My job is to defend you.
Just you answer questions when I ask you. You give me information as I give it to you. You don't hold anything back.
Real quick, your take on this episode, because I know I kind of hijacked this one because it made me so fucking hot.
I think this one, it just really you find out that Hannah's parents obviously aren't perfect people and they were having problems. I despise her dad.
Oh, he's just the worst.
He's
smarmy. He's spineless. He's a lying cocksucker. He loves his daughter. Let's not.
No, of course.
But I don't know if it's this episode or one further where they have dinner together.
Yeah.
And Olivia thinks, this is it. I've been waiting for this. This is my husband coming back.
No. And he wants to finish it.
Exactly.
Yep. Also, real quick, Clay visits Sky again, and he she's on medications. Totally a different person at this point, being on medications and therapies and stuff. She's totally in a place of calm and peace.
And this was the question I had earlier on that I didn't want to bring up until you brought this up.
Right.
We never really do. Does anybody know what Sky's problem was? She never brings it out that I can remember.
I thought she said she had schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, and but
I don't recall any of it. But
I don't think she hurt herself or anything, and she like just kind of had a nervous breakdown or something.
Quite possible.
Yeah, they don't get too far into it, but she basically says, I need, she needs to leave, and she's gonna move and get away from, the mess that is that town, really, so that she can heal.
Yeah,
and it breaks Clay's heart, but he knows it's right, and you kind of leaves it at that.
You can rise up, or you can continue to live on the ground.
Right, and that's basically the long and short of it. Moving on, so we can get because we're coming in on the home stretch soon.
There you go.
Episode 9, The Missing Page. When testifying, Mr. Porter reveals that since Hannah's death, he has come to believe that Hannah was raped by Bryce. He emotionally apologized to Hannah's mother for the part he played in her suicide. Justin steals money from his mother's boyfriend, and when confronted by his mother, leaves her some suggesting she leaves too in order to escape the relationship. Bryce confronts and threatens Clay under the assumption that it was Clay who blackmailed Marcus into publicly accusing Bryce of rape. Later, Clay is violently beaten at a school by 4 masked students. He is then approached by Cyrus, who invites him to join him and Tyler in vandalizing the school that evening. But when he does, he sees a group of students entering a storage shed next to a baseball field, which he correctly guesses is the location of the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
He texts Justin, and they reconvene. Meanwhile, Olivia contacts a girl, Sarah, and her mother, and asks them not to testify. Ooh.
You start.
Well, Pam Bradley testifies, and she talks about the atmosphere at Liberty High, and Kevin Porter, who talks about the day Hannah asked help from him. Well, Mr. Porter, this is the moment of, I think, redemption for Mr. Porter when he accepts his entire role. He admits to being weak. He ends his career.
Basically.
Yeah, he ends his career, as you'll later find out.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. He ends his career by testifying honestly, and he ends up crying. And tragic character number
21.
God, everyone's
58.
tragic. Yeah, everyone's tragic in this one. Honestly, I think except for the girl who comes out to her gay parents, and she's probably Courtney. She's probably the only one who rises up. Besides Sherry. And this is where things really start to the ball starts rolling out of control on the show. So Clay gets beat up by mass students, who you later find out who it was.
Right.
And
the Bryce Brigade.
Right. And this is also really they pranked Marcus earlier, but this is also the beginning of the destructive behavior of Cyrus and Tyler.
Right.
Because at this point, Tyler and him have been shooting guns off in the woods. They got caught once. And
they're talking a lot more anarchistic than in any other episode. Because they're building the...
they call themselves the assholes or something?
The assholes. They made shirts. They built the pink paint bomb.
Yes.
Which went off on Marcus, I believe.
Yep, it was Marcus.
So
fuck Marcus.
Fuck Marcus. Fuck anybody named Marcus. If you're a listener and your name is Marcus, no offense, go to town hall.
That's another shirt. Fuck Marcus.
Fuck Marcus.
Don't sue us.
Don't be a Marcus. Don't sue us, Netflix. Hashtag gimmick schnabitzfernum.com. There's a shirt, schnabitzfernum.com.
Fuck that. That's too many words. That's too many syllables.
I'll write it out for you. It's all good. This episode, probably more than anything, was more they're starting to tie all the loose ends together as we go down the home stretch. Wasn't necessarily an episode where I was like glued to find out what happens next. It was basically bringing all the loose ends together. And as we go down the home stretch in the next 3 episodes, I believe, that's when the heat really starts to turn up.
Mm-hmm.
As if earlier there wasn't enough heat. Now, episode 9 kind of just brings everything, and you tie that knot, and you're like, okay, now you're here. Now we have everything in one perfect bundle. Get ready for the roller coaster, because you're about to take that drop That thing. If you've ever ridden a roller coaster, you click, 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 and that when you hear the click stop, you know shit's about to get real, and you go down that dive. Episode 9 was the click, 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 and then you go down.
And the climax of this show is when Olivia, Hannah's mom, goes to a hotel room and asks some random girl that we've never seen before not to testify.
Yes, Sarah something,
which leads into the next episode, which we'll touch on. So
I don't remember who Sarah was, and for the life of me, when you brought her up, I'm like, who the fuck is Sarah?
You remember Sarah? Well, we'll get into it in the next episode.
Gotcha.
But because basically, they, oh yeah, Sherry. Oh, that's the next episode. Let's just go into the next one because there's a lot of. Basically, they find the clubhouse. The Tyler and Cyrus basically just vandalize everything, put rape and shit onto the field and stuff. Usual vigilante stuff. So episode 10. Smile, bitches.
My favorite name of any episode.
Yeah. Tony is asked to testify, but chooses not to reveal that Hannah left him her tapes because he owed her a favor after she helped him evade arrest. During Sarah's testimony, she reveals that Hannah was part of a trio of girls who bullied her in another high school. After an argument between Tyler and Mackenzie, his friendship with Cyrus breaks down. Offering marijuana, Sherry...
Mackenzie being the girl that Tyler was interested in.
Cyrus's sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we haven't touched on, although she was a fringe character until now.
Sherry, actually, this is when she tries to do some undercover work and gets Bryce and them to take her to the clubhouse. And Sherry tempts some male students into taking her... Oh, yeah, to the clubhouse where Bryce takes a picture of her and 2 other boys on a Polaroid camera, placing the photograph in a box filled with many others. She learns the code to unlock the door and shares it with Clay and Justin. During a baseball game, Zach confronts Bryce, tells him he knows Hannah was not lying, and quits the game. He goes to the clubhouse to find Clay and Justin there. He hands Clay the box of Polaroid photographs taken at the clubhouse, confessing that it was him who had given Clay the first 3 photographs. So we find out that Zach has been giving the clues to Clay, Detective Clay.
Yep.
Which, does that mean he was leaving? There were Polaroids given to Jessica, wasn't it? Too? No, it was just Clay.
Just Clay.
Okay.
Clay got the Polaroids. Jessica got the angry paint splattered notes.
Clay reviews the photographs at home with Justin and Sherry, and they find a pair of photographs which show Bryce raping Chloe, which is currently Bryce's girlfriend.
Exactly. Context is king.
Clay also finds a picture of Hannah. Now, the testimony of Sarah, who talks about Hannah bullying her, and Tony Padilla, who talks about his friendship with Hannah. So Tony testifies and Sarah testifies. Basically, what had happened was Tony beat the crap out of somebody for calling him some gay slurs, and Tony, being who he is, beat the crap out of this guy, ran from the police into the movie theater that Hannah worked at. Hannah hid him from the police, lied to the police, and
old guy with the eye. Oh, yes, I almost forgot about this. And the boxing trainer that Tony is romantically linked to, which we have not talked about this entire episode.
Yeah, they haven't touched on this. Basically, Tony's been getting romantic with somebody.
And he's training this guy, and the guy looks and says, oh, hey, you look awfully familiar. Do I know you? Did we train together? Obviously, the beating was pretty severe. If you can't remember the face of the guy who whooped your ass... no, I gotta go. See you later. I don't think he ever reveals this to the boxing coach that he is romantically linked to. But every time those two are within arm's length of each other, Tony is just a bundle of nerves.
Yes.
And that flashback scene to where, hey, you fuck this and faggot and this and that, and he whoops the shit out of him to the point where he's blinded in one eye. And then he runs to the theater. Hannah, you gotta hide me. Go in there. We're showing Pretty Woman or whatever the fucking movie was. And he runs in there and he sits down and la 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 la. And the police come. Have you seen this person in this description with the leather jacket? No, nobody here like that.
And during the time that he's hanging out in the theater with Hannah, Hannah confesses that she bullied a girl, and
way back when,
because she was trying to fit in and she felt really bad doing it, etc., etc. So they set up Hannah has not the sweet girl she always was, and then kind
in
of
this town,
kind of redeems her at the same time, which I thought was like, okay, she felt bad but she did bully the girl. That was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so this girl gets called to testify that Hannah was actually a bully. The whole time the defense is really trying to paint Hannah as this like horrible manipulator, and does a good job of it, unfortunately, because on the surface it looks really bad for Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony testifies without really giving away too much. If I recall.
No, if I remember correctly, Tony just sat up there and talked about Hannah.
Yeah.
And talked about the things that happened in the school without revealing too much.
I think because
Tony is probably armed with more information than anybody else.
He says he is.
Yeah.
He tells people he is. And I think he kind of ends it with...
doesn't reveal anything.
Because they ask, why did she give the tapes to you? And he kind of leaves it as she just thought I was a good friend.
Yeah, she trusted me. That was it.
Yeah.
Boom. There's your answer. Bye.
May I have my last one?
You have a last gimmick?
One more gimmick, and then...
Because we're coming in the home stretch, guys. No top 10 list this week. That'll return next week. I got a really good one for you.
Yes, so...
Pop your gimmick.
Episode 11, Bryce and Chloe. Bryce testifies and says that he and Hannah had a casual sexual relationship and that she falsely accused him of rape after he brought it to an end to it.
Can you hit the button real quick? This is the first time with the new board, maybe?
Oh, my God. Look. I don't know what I got.
I don't know. He's got to twist some things because horse, shit, fuck, Bryce Walker. That's the best horseshit button ever.
That's the greatest.
In the history of ever.
It's more of a knob, but...
All right. Well, it's the best horseshit knob ever in the history of ever.
So, yeah. Bryce lies his ass off.
I'm gonna let you take this one. I got to step aside for a minute.
Okay. So where was I?
At fuck Bryce Walker and his lies about his relationship with Hannah Baker.
When Bryce returns to school, Justin approaches him and... Oh, this is the Rumble. This was...
Don't talk about the Rumble yet.
It's in...
I know. Just read the...
All right. So, when Bryce returns to school, Justin approaches him and a fight breaks out, which evolves into a mass brawl. Jessica shows Chloe the 2 pictures of Bryce and her in the clubhouse, and Chloe confesses that it was her who stuck up the pictures in the classroom before Jessica testified. Olivia, her legal team, and Jessica ask Chloe to testify, and she agrees. But in the courtroom, she reports that she remembers Bryce having sex with her and remembers consenting. The box of Polaroid photographs taken from the clubhouse is stolen from Clay's car, and Alex is sent a package containing a gun and threatening letter. Bryce's mother later asks him whether he was telling the truth in his testimony, and after being pressed, he confesses raping Hannah. Through a series of flashbacks, it is revealed Bryce wanted a relationship with Hannah and was rejected himself. Clay becomes mentally tormented by hallucinations of Hannah to the points where he contemplates both murdering Bryce and killing himself. Yeah. So this was a big episode. So basically Bryce lied his ass off about his relationship, and they actually show you his point of view of everything. Them hanging out at a bridge, him talking to her kind of sweet and romantically as best as Bryce Walker can do, and a couple other things kind of implying that Hannah was the one really interested in him, but what obviously wasn't the case, and they later show flashbacks of what really happened, and Bryce being the overbearing ass he is and getting too up close and personal, and her rejecting him. The box of Polaroids, there's a character that we haven't talked about too much that Jessica starts hanging out with and going to basically some sexual assault crisis meetings or something to that effect. Therapeutic meetings where they kind of discuss what they've been through and stuff like that. And this girl who is also a victim of sexual assault just has a very different way of dealing with it than Jessica does. She's a little more outgoing. She kind of spreads herself thin, like she was dating one guy. The guy starts asking too many questions. She dumps him, starts sleeping with another guy, tries getting Jessica to hook up with a different guy, and Jessica's really just not into dating at this point. She's still sleeping on her parents' floor, so she's definitely not ready to start dating. But this is the point we were talking about this earlier. This is really the episode where Bryce's mother basically confronts him and asks him if he was telling the truth when he testifies, and Bryce pretty much admits that he was lying and doesn't give a fuck, and he puts his own mother in her place, as twisted as it sounds, because he's just
I walked in at the right time.
It just shows what a vile human being. This was the money shot episode, that, for lack of a better term. This is the one where his own mother really lets it be known how she feels, and he pretty much lets her know that he doesn't care.
You know, I'm on the fence on this one.
What's the name of the girl? Jessica's hanging out with some girl at this point. They go to the meetings and stuff. I can't remember her name.
Oh my God, yes.
They don't. They haven't...
Oh, I can't. I don't remember, and they don't mention her in the synopsis. But my God, she has the friend, and they go, and she meets a new guy, and then she freaks out and doesn't do anything, and what have you. But going back to, we're talking about Bryce's mom or Clay's mom?
This is Bryce's mom. This episode where Bryce, after he testifies, Bryce's mom pretty much says, "I think you were lying."
Bryce's mom in this episode, I remember the scene so vividly, basically gives him the high hard one. Thank you, fuck you, bye. You're a huge piece of shit. I believe everything I've heard here. No matter how much you slick your hair to the side, no matter how much you put on the glasses to look studious, no matter what kind of Armani suit you wear, you're still a jackass. And again, this might be the second time I was tugging hard during this episode, during this series, where, you know, like, yeah, go get him, Bryce's mom.
And he totally slaps her back to the ground. And it's like,
because he has the false confidence of being super jock boy. Second, he has daddy, who is, no matter what, going to cover him with Teflon and say, doesn't matter what happens, you are my son, you're a walker, and they named a field after you, and all this bullshit, and doesn't matter what you do.
Funny thing too, one thing I won't give his dad's not like some dismissive misogynist either. He's always saying, like, we raised him, he should be fine, you know.
Exactly.
Like,
he's clueless.
Right. He won't accept any responsibility for how Bryce may be turning out.
And that's a problem that still permeates our society to this day. The what they view as the high school elite can't be touched. It doesn't matter if they began it. It doesn't matter if they are the catalyst. You have to understand that Bryce Walker is this and that and the third to this community, and fuck that. Have we reached the episode, by the way, and you know what? Fuck it. Full disclosure, Spoiler Jones right here, where they raped Tyler with a broom handle?
No.
That didn't come up. Well, that happens, guys. You know why? Because Bryce Walker and the Jock Brigade think they're untouchable, and guess what? Nothing ever happens.
The girl I'm thinking of, by the way, her name is Nina.
Nina, thank you. Okay.
Nina. Yep, Nina Logan.
All right. Guys, share this with your friends, man. 13 Reasons. Awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not Nina Logan. Samantha Logan's the actress's name. Nina is the character's name.
Right.
But
you had it right the first time.
Right. So Nina because Nina was one of the photos they find in the box. And
yes,
Jessica tries to convince her to pursue it. And,
I forgot about that.
And she won't. And she takes her photo, I think.
Yeah.
She's like, this is mine. And she took,
right in the pocket.
Yeah. Which is actually kind of important. I'm surprised not in the synopsis. So they probably don't want to spoil too much. But
like you said, being not part of the synopsis it's a very telling point that is ignored. But I get it. This is like, you haven't watched this. Here's kind of like a brief overview.
I think this episode too, the Bryce and Chloe one, this was where the big scene that kind of, it sums up who Bryce was the whole time, because he starts thinking about back to what really happened as opposed to his testimony, where he was more overbearing. Hannah was kind of dismissive, the
hot tub scene.
Right. Well, then his whole testimony, we talked about, they went to a bridge and they did this.
Oh yeah. It was
in the clubhouse.
Bullshit Jones.
Right. And then he thinks about what really happened. And then it goes, all the way to the actual rape scene in the hot tub. And what fucking happens? Bryce gets a fucking erection.
Mm-hmm.
He's just sitting there
I remember
with
that.
a raging erection, and he just, not even thinking about it, adjusts himself. It just that just totally shows his character, because Hannah Baker is fucking dead. He contributed to it, and he's still sexually aroused by the fact that he sexually assaulted
reminiscent to The Devil's Advocate, the film, where they're on the stand with the pedophile, and Keanu Reeves, the defense lawyer, looks over and he's rubbing his fingers together. I'm just going to bring it up here. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see this. If you're listening on audio only, go watch The Devil's Advocate right now. And he's rubbing his fingers like this. And Keanu Reeves just like has that moment of clarity. And then the film goes on. They flash back and all that bullshit. And Keanu Reeves decides, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. But that was that moment when he gets that friggin' hard on.
He has no, he doesn't.
That's where I was like, no
remorse. Like I said, he doesn't even view women as human beings at that point.
They're playthings.
Whether it's his mother, it's just I don't know. I thought it was an intense scene, but I think it was important.
I agree, 1000%. Moving on.
That was an important. Excuse me. And we should mention Chloe was going to testify that she was raped, and then later just comes out and says, no, I consented.
Oh, is that some bullshit or not? Oh, my.
Yes. Fuck. You later find out why she did it, which we'll get into.
We will.
Last two episodes.
Here we go.
The box of Polaroids. Episode 12.
Dun.
Justin receives a death threat before going to testify, but he tells of Bryce raping Jessica during his testimony nonetheless. Montgomery is confronted by Alex, Clay, Justin, Tony, and Zach, and Scott after Alex realizes he is responsible for intimidating people during the trial and admits to stealing the box of Polaroid photos. However, after taking Alex to their location, he reveals he was lying and escapes.
Montgomery, by the way, is Bryce's new right hand since Justin doesn't want any part of it.
Yes. And as a result, Jessica is encouraged by a group of her friends to report her case of sexual assault to the police. After the trial concludes and the jury finds the trial concludes and the school district is found not guilty or responsible for Hannah's death. Both Bryce and Justin are arrested outside the courtroom for their involvement in Jessica's rape, and Mr. Porter is fired after a performance review, and Tyler is placed on a diversion program after one of his social media posts reveals it was him who vandalized the school.
Lot to cover on this one.
Yes.
This was probably, if I always say you can't shove 5 pounds of bologna into a 2-pound bag, that's exactly what they did here.
Yeah, this was
just crazy. So much to digest and comprehend. And just in going back, the verdict, all right, it's episodic television. It's fiction. It is what it is, but I can't say that ever in years of watching episodic television before I fell out. I'll be the first to admit it, and this guy might give me some shit. From the years of 1991 till about 2000 and give or take, I was still married at the time, 2008, I was a huge Days of Our Lives fan.
I used to watch All My Children.
Okay.
Show.
So
you won't get any shit from me.
Okay, thank the Lord in heaven for that. I remember those storylines being so gripping, and every now and again you got one of those episodes that was just too much to handle. Then it's on Friday, obviously, so now you have the weekend to have your nerves all on a ball. Can't wait to get to fucking Monday, and everything starts to resolve, and it's a slow burn, and it's another month, and then you get the resolvement. This was that episode, but the problem is it's a Netflix series. You know you have a finite amount of time, but this is one of those episodes. You had the Porter firing, you had the end of the trial, not guilty, you had all of this stuff, and it left you kind of, for me, emotionally drained. So when you got to 13, you were kind of at your lowest low. At any point in season 1, season 2, this for me was the emotional low point of watching this series.
Yes.
And for you, I'd love to hear what you think.
Well, I wasn't surprised with the verdict, because obviously the defense lawyer did a good job of just totally poking holes in it. destroying Hannah's
rightly,
character.
wrongly, or indifferently.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there was just some of the testimonies where they just didn't either tell the truth, tell the whole truth. They left too much out, or they did it in such a way that they painted themselves as part of the problem.
Bryce Walker did a fucking phenomenal job of painting himself as the most studious, upright, upstanding, Superman-esque fucking flowing cape Jones that he could have been.
And it gets worse.
It does.
It gets worse.
But he was arrested in this episode outside the courtroom.
Him and Justin, because Justin, even though he's testifying, he's still considered responsible because he didn't stop Bryce.
He's an accomplice.
Right. So, yeah, this whole episode is basically a setup for the next one.
Which, by the way, before you get into the next episode, when they're walking out of the courtroom and Fuckstick Jones is thinking he is king shit of the penis people, and they go, Bryce Walker, you're under arrest for sexual assault and this and that, and they cuffed him. Oh, I jumped. I thought that was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, justice. Even if the court case went wrong, we're going to get justice, or so we think.
Yeah.
Because here we go, kids.
Let's
last lap, white flag.
That's basically the long and short of that one. Episode 13. Bye.
If that isn't the best name for an episode, when we get to the end,
yeah,
it makes sense.
1 month later, after Jessica's sexual assault trial, Bryce is convicted but sentenced to only 3 months probation.
Rich people don't get the same punishment as us poor folks.
Justin is sentenced to 6 months probation and can only be released to one of his parents, neither of whom can be found.
Of course not.
This leads to Clay's family adopting him, which Clay reveals to Justin after a funeral service for Hannah, which was a great service, by the way. The funeral scene I thought was great. I got choked up.
I can't. You know what? Full disclosure, I was right there with you. A little tear pouring down my cheek. Yeah. It was very emotionally gripping.
And this part here was really good, where Clay discovers he was included on a list of 11 reasons why not. Hannah had written before her death. Tyler returns to school, but he is savagely beaten and sexually assaulted by Montgomery and 2 of his friends.
But with what? A broom handle?
A broomstick.
Think about that. I know. Look, I'm guilty. When I watch this episode, you'll notice what we watched it. I watched this a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
You recently finished, which is the impetus for this episode. If you listen to any past episode of the Loki and Jabroni show, you will hear me say something like, fuck you with a broom handle.
Yeah.
Man, that scene changed my worldview. I haven't said that. I can't. Because...
And it says something to that whole circle of Bryce cronies.
The snake.
Whereas all these fuckers know how to do is rape.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that? Like,
I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and fuck you if you don't like it.
And the funny thing is, too, they set it up, too. They really tug your heartstrings this one, because Tyler seems to be well-adjusted. He's done therapy.
Okay, stop. Time out, offsides clipping. He's still the same guy who was out at the gun range with Cyrus. He's still the same guy building incendiary devices, whether or not they shoot pink paint or what.
Mm-hmm.
They're still mini wannabe anarchists at this point.
But he went away. Remember, Tyler goes away and he comes back, and he's like.
But is he well adjusted? Because as we're about to find out,
I
not
think
so much.
I think he would have been had he not been raped with a broomstick. Because I know we hate that word, but there are certain that kind of thing triggers you.
You can take the girl out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the girl or guy or look. I'm not being misogynist. You can take the person out of the bad situation. You can't take the bad situation out of the person.
I'm not
Is that
saying
better?
He's a picture perfect example of mental health, but he was definitely on his way to better.
He may have been on the right track,
and then,
but at the end of the day, that still creeps.
It's still there.
Our brain is so complex that you can store something. Look,
but at that
I had a dream the other day, full disclosure, about a girlfriend, about a person that I have not seen since high school. It was a pretty violent dream. I wasn't doing the violence, but I picked up a newspaper, which I'm predisposed to do. I love the newspaper. And the headline was that somebody was savagely beaten, raped, and murdered. It happened to be an ex-girlfriend from high school.
It's because you fall asleep watching those Lifetime
Oxygen, Lifetime,
like
not so much Lifetime,
murder mystery,
Oxygen, ID Discovery, all that bullshit. You're right.
True crime stuff.
Killer Legends. Oh, if you haven't seen that, go watch it. It'll fuck up your mind.
I watched an episode of that.
You gotta
maybe the one I watched is kind
dig
of
deeper, bro.
I'm still listening to Lore. I like Lore.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
They should pay us. But I had that dream, and again, there's always going to be, your brain is really fucked up and crazy. You could be driving down the road one day, la 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 la, and you hear a song that reminds you of an ex-girlfriend who did you wrong. Immediately, you're hot. In the snap, you're hot. You're just, fuck that chick. And if you're a girl, you're like, fuck that guy. Or if you're a lesbian, or if you're a gay man, or whatever you are, there's only, I'm not going to go into the genders, but let's just call a spade a spade. You think of the ex, and you're like, well, fuck that chick. I can't believe that girl did that to me. That guy did that to me. Whatever. You're hot. You're just fucking hot.
Yeah, every time I hear that song by CeeLo.
The brain is funny that way. And it will trigger you, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 5 months, 50 years. I'm sure at some point when I'm old now, but when I'm older, at 66, when I'm in the rest home, because I'm sure Emma's going to put me in a great rest home. And they're like, okay, wheelchair mosh pit is going on in the rec room. Bring your wheelchairs. We're playing Anthrax today.
She's going to be like, where's the euthanize room?
Right? And I'm going to roll in there, and I'm going to hear a song that reminds me of an ex that's just going to fucking trigger a memory, and I'm going to kill a bunch of old people when I'm old. And your brain is funny. You don't remember what you had for dinner a week ago, but you remember the pain that ex caused you 100 years ago. Once everybody embraces that, you understand that it's just go with the flow, man. Just go with the flow. And what happens here? Same thing. Same thing.
Well, it was more than just a song playing.
But in this situation, the brain triggers a memory. Same thing. This kid,
because he tries talking to him.
It's not far after that he gets violated with this broom handle that he goes and tries to smooth it out. No dice.
Well, no, before they even do that, he actually tries talking to the guy who ultimately ends up doing it, Montgomery.
Yep,
tries
the new number 2.
Apologize to him like, hey, listen, I was in a bad place. I caused a lot of trouble. But Montgomery basically placed because Bryce at this point has said, hey, fuck off. I don't need you anymore. I'm leaving.
Yep.
So Montgomery has placed his entire future on Bryce, which is fucking weird. And he's all pissed off, and he blames Tyler for it.
There is a scene that we didn't touch on where Clay is hell-bent on confronting Bryce.
Oh, yeah, they didn't.
And who stops him? Justin. He's in Bryce's driveway with a gun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he grabs a gun that Tyler had given him.
Yep.
Because they went shooting together, and he almost goes to shoot Bryce. Bryce even sees him at the front door.
Yep, and he walks up. What the fuck is going... That whole Teflon thing. What the fuck is going on here? Realizes his life is in danger. Sees that Justin just saved his ass.
Which they go into in flashbacks. Bryce and him were really tight, and Bryce used to stand up for him and stuff. And
when they were kids, like 3-4 years old, whatever, or 5 or 6 or whatever, in grade school.
Right, and you see that Bryce was always a bully, but he was kind of loyal to his friend for a while, and then
it just grew into the wrong thing.
So.
But going back to that scene, it was that scene that I was just like, Justin is basically putting the Teflon on Bryce.
Yes.
When he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. If it were me and you in a driveway and you were going to shoot somebody that did you wrong, like, bro, I'm right here. We'll transport the body later. I got a great truck. We'll do this. I got a tarp. Everything's good.
The Loki and Jabroni show does not encourage murdering your enemies.
Not at all, unless it's warranted. Anyway,
we're gonna get sued.
Don't sue us, Netflix. Hashtag Netflix.
Yeah, we're promoting your show, man. Like
that might be. I'm serious. That might be a T-shirt. Hashtag Netflix. Don't sue us. But. It goes back to everybody has pain, everybody has problems, everybody has that little Rolodex in their mind that something's going to come out. And for Tyler, And now we're going to get into why I was so pissed off at the ending.
Well, real quick, a couple other
Let's
things.
talk about the positive first of this episode.
We should talk after Clay gets the list of reasons why not Hannah Roper death. Justin, it turns out, is secretly shooting up heroin still.
Of course.
So that'll be something. Nina has the box of Polaroids.
Yep.
Turns out she stole them and she sets them on fire, which is really frustrating because these Polaroids could have sent Bryce away for a long time.
More Teflon.
Which
more Teflon.
I don't get. I don't understand Nina's motivations for this. Like,
because she wants the pain to go away, but at the same time, your pain isn't going away. If he goes away and he has to pay for the fucking damage he did, then your pain goes away. But in this instance, her burning the Polaroid,
she's addicted to the pain. It almost feels like in Nina's case, because the way she, like I talked about earlier, she treats those boys like she dumps one, goes with none. For some reason, I'm not gonna say she's likes playing the victim, but I think the pain is kind of pushing her into its own kind of mentally destructive behavior.
I'll agree.
And now she's burned these Polaroids, and with it, any chance they had of really putting Bryce away, because I think Bryce cops a plea deal, and gets the 3 months probation, and he's just going to another school where he can go
do the
start
same
over
shit all
yeah,
over
he
again.
Can start over.
I'm a senior and I'm gonna rape more people. Fuck Bryce. Anybody named Bryce. If you like our show and your name is Bryce, again, go to Town Hall, change your name to John.
Then you can keep listening.
Or Roman. I don't give a fuck.
Jessica and Justin share an intimate encounter. They end up having sex in the locker room.
Yep.
And Chloe tells Jessica that she is pregnant, and that's why that's why she did not testify. And unfortunately, it's Bryce's.
Of course it's Bryce's, because he put her up against the wall and
they were banging a lot.
Yeah.
So
not even gonna get into it.
Yeah, so now this is the ending, and it is fucked up. Tyler has amassed a small arsenal.
Wait, before we go on to that, let's talk about the positive. There was the celebration of life for Hannah.
Yes, Hannah's story is completely wrapped up.
And everybody is glad handing. Everybody is
Olivia is going to move out.
Most of the major characters are there. Sans Bryce, sans Andy. Everybody's hugging it out, man, and they're putting closure behind this suicide. And
we should mention real quick, during Clay's speech at the celebration of life, he sees Hannah sitting at her own funeral.
Yes.
He gives a speech that says goodbye, and Hannah smiles, gets up, and walks out. Yeah, she says goodbye.
Yep.
And the door closes, and Hannah Baker's story pretty much ends. She has closure.
Her story is over.
Yeah, and then Olivia has decided to leave town. She's going to move to New York.
Yes. She's going to follow her dream that she wanted, and Hannah was all for during her life. You want to go do this? You want to go do this? You should do this, but your dad is here. No, we're a family. We love each other.
She's got nothing now.
Gimmick schnibbits Fernum.
Nothing's holding her in the town.
Her husband's gone. Her daughter's gone. I'm going to follow my dream.
Yeah.
And there's a fucking bug in here that's pissing me off.
It's huge. So
that's the positive. Now we're going to get into this is where Eddie and I are going to disagree on the ending. And I'll tell you how I should have thought it ended. But we're going to tell first how it ended.
So basically, Tyler has been raped and pushed over the edge. He has always had an arsenal, apparently.
We saw that at the end of season 1.
Yeah, and which we thought was going to be the focus of this season, but
I thought it was. You're right.
Yeah, it turned out to be something totally different. And so
they waited till episode 13 to break this fucking thing out.
Tyler has, I think he has bombs. He has an AR-15. He, I know, the big
Where's
black
David
gun.
Hogg when we need him?
Yeah,
Can I share this with David Hogg on Twitter? He hasn't blocked me yet.
He hasn't blocked you yet? Wow.
Not yet.
So he goes to the dance with the intention of lighting the place up, and he's interrupted by
Clay and Tony.
Clay and Tony, yeah.
And there was Jessica was out there too.
Right. Well, I think it was just Clay at first, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the other two come out.
Because Clay and Tyler just looks at him and he just says, "Get out of here, Clay."
Because that was the culmination of the Tony storyline where, yes, you are my boyfriend. We're gonna go to this dance together. We're gonna have a good time.
The boxing coach.
And everything was copacetic. And then all of a sudden, Tony and Jessica see Clay bolt out. I don't know why. Maybe he walked out. I don't know what. I don't remember what it was. But when he goes out, he sees Tyler, AR-15, bandolero of bullets.
He has it ready to go.
He's ready to go, and he's like, "You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this."
And he doesn't want to shoot Clay either. He tells him to leave at 1st.
He's like, "Clay, you need to go home. I don't want this to happen. You need to go home." It was kind of Columbine-ish because
real quick,
the Columbine guys called somebody and said, "Don't go to school tomorrow."
Real quick, Bryce says the douchiest thing in this episode. He pats Clay on the back, says, "You're a good kid. You need to get laid, but you're a good kid." I was like, ugh.
Douchebag Jones.
But I do like Clay has the best one-liner in the show. Which
was?
Well, Bryce is like, "Don't worry, I can't punch you. I'll go to jail if I punch you." And Clay is like, "Funny, I don't have that problem."
Yep.
I was like, best one-liner. Best one-liner in the show. Good job, Clay. But yeah, Tyler is ready to shoot the place, and they talk him down.
Mm-hmm. And Tony pulls up in the car. He's screaming at Tyler, "Get in the fucking car! Get
Police
in the
are
car
coming. You
now.
can hear the sirens."
Yes, you can. And everybody's looking as if, they don't know what the fuck is going on. Everybody's looking around, and finally Tyler gets in the car. Tony drives in safety, and we fade to black.
No. You're forgetting an important
part.
What
did I miss?
Clay is standing there holding the AR-15.
Oh, that's right. He took the gun.
He has the gun, and they fade to black.
Okay. Here is that's why I was pissed off. I said it was the worst ending ever. You got the message when I got through that. I know you haven't gotten this far. Worst fucking ending ever. Here's how I envisioned it in my mind's eye. Is that Tyler is armed to the teeth. He's ready to go. You have Clay that comes out, sees Tyler. "Bro, you can't do this. Da-da-da-da-da. Don't worry about Tony. Don't worry about Jessica. It's just the two of them." And to build suspense to the next season, Tyler raises the weapon. And Clay's like, you really don't want to do this. You're my friend. You're not my friend. You're my friend. You're not my friend. You throw a rock through my window. Go back to season 1. All these things in Tyler's life are coming up to the surface now, including the anal rape with the broom handle. And as he's set and ready, you go to black. Nobody knows what happens next. I didn't want Tyler to shoot up the gym. I didn't want Tyler to shoot up the dance. I didn't want dead bodies asunder.
Yeah.
What I wanted was suspense. But what we got was mini suspense. Tyler gets in Tony's car. They take off. You have Clay holding the AR-15. He doesn't have the weaponry. He doesn't have the bandolero bullets. He doesn't have anything else. He's just holding a weapon. I think the climax was anticlimactic.
I actually disagree. I actually think the ending is very climatic because Clay, who has been, for all intents and purposes, the good guy of the show, he's pretty much the only one who hasn't really hurt anybody, except for, like I said, he did throw a window in retaliation for Tyler taking inappropriate pictures of Hannah and posting them.
Right.
So I think that's one of the reasons why Tyler didn't want to shoot Clay, is because you threw a rock through my window, but I deserved it.
He says as much, not only toward the end of season 1, but during season 2.
Yeah,
he admits his fault.
He's the only truthful one on that.
Him and Clay, I think, are the only truthful two. Yeah. Jessica to an extent, because she kind of crumbled. Exactly.
Yeah, she omits
omission by guilt.
So now you're gonna have the police are showing up. Clay's holding an AR-15. I think Clay's gonna get
loaded or not. He's still in possession of a weapon.
Oh, it's fully loaded. It was loaded, and ready to go. He was ready to shoot.
Did he cock and load? I don't remember.
Because he did that right before.
That's right, when he pointed it.
Yeah, because he was like, "Go home, Clay.
Go home, Clay. You don't need to be here."
Right, and So the police are going to show up. They're going to catch Clay with the gun. Now, Bryce has seen Clay show up at his house with a pistol.
Fuck me running.
Okay, so now there's going to be this. Obviously, they're going to be talking about gun violence in schools. That's going to be the next thing, I'm sure. And so now Clay is going to be accused of bringing a gun to school, this, that, and the other thing. Bryce can be like, oh, well, he came to my house with a pistol before. The kid's not right in the head. And
Teflon.
Right. And
fuck.
Yeah. So
fuck.
So if you ask me, the ending is more climatic than I think you're giving it credit for.
When I could point to the Eternal Flame upstairs, and I know I've done that because we watch it together. And when that ended, I just looked at her. I'm like, that's like having a raging heart on. You get into bed with a beautiful woman, and it just goes, and it sinks.
I don't agree. I was still hard.
Not me.
This is probably inappropriate terms to talk about this show, but
I was just so let down. Not that I wanted to see violence. I wanted to see.
I thought they were going to take it further.
So did I.
I thought they were going to take a little bit further, and then it was going to be about them dealing with the shooting. But
so did I.
When they stuffed Tyler in the car and Clay's sitting there holding the gun, I'm just like, the first thing I thought was, oh fuck, he was going to shoot Bryce.
He wouldn't shoot Bryce, and that was the beauty. There was the one beautiful moment of that entire episode was that he knew he could, but in his heart he couldn't because he knew Bryce was one of the good guys.
Well, I think Justin had more to do with him not shooting it because Hannah was. Remember, he saw Hannah. Hannah was talking to him, and she kept saying her tape.
Yep. If anyone else walked out and confronted Tyler at that point, in my mind's eye,
Tyler would have shot him.
Let's pretend this is real life. If it's anybody other than Clay confronting Tyler, they're dead.
Yes,
and he goes in and he goes on a rampage.
Maybe Zach. He wouldn't have shot Zach, I don't think.
I'll give you that one too. But he confronted Clay. And Clay was the voice of reason. Clay was the moral compass. Clay was all of these things that maybe Tyler didn't have in his life, and he couldn't. He just could not pull the trigger. He certainly could have, but he didn't because Clay's one of the good guys.
Yes.
Fuck! What a roller coaster this
like
whole fucking show is.
I totally see your side of it when you said it was kind of anticlimactic, but when you throw in like I said, the Bryce and the gun and all that, it changes that ending a little bit.
Yeah,
and it opens up. I don't know if that's the direction they're going in. This is totally speculation. I think it's going to go into Clay getting arrested, and
I see it,
and then him covering for Tyler because Tyler already has a history.
Mm-hmm.
They'll lock him up and throw away the key.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, and Clay has no record really, except for what he had a car accident.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, or whatever. Not a car. Yeah, he was in that car with Sherry, right?
Yes.
So I think
season 1,
but she was driving or something. But so I think it's going to be Clay covering for Tyler and trying to get out of jail at the same time because he just brought AR-15 to school in a tuxedo. And
well, shit! If you're in a tuxedo,
I remember watching that thinking, why, Clay? Why are you still holding that fucking gun? Throw it in Tony's car.
Throw it in the bush. Throw it.
No, don't throw it in the bush. It's got Tyler's fingerprints all over it. Throw it in the car.
Good call.
Like I said, dude, there's more of a climax with that ending than I think you see, and I'm pretty excited for season 3. I am honestly looking towards another storyline because I got to tell you, the sexual assault angle makes me so uncomfortable. But all right, I still think it's an important show to watch.
What we need to do is coordinate. Unlike Glow, unlike this season, which you were behind me on this.
Because I got to watch it with the girl.
I understand. We need to coordinate. We need to pick a day. Like, okay, we're going to start on Saturday. Let's finish here. We'll do the Skype gimmick. We'll do a bonus episode for you guys. Maybe we'll make it Patreon only. If you want to hear what we have to say, patreon.com/Logan Jabroni. Donate to the show. $1, $5, $10, your entire paycheck. We don't care. We love you guys, and we love the fact that you guys want to help us. Maybe we'll do it. Whatever we do, doesn't matter. Maybe we'll do it as a bonus episode and upload it. Guys, I can't get over this. again, I don't consider this episodic television. I consider it on demand. I can watch it at 11:30 at night. I can watch it at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Well, this is more of a.
It's an
if you think about it, it's a mini
roller.
series more than a full series because it's not a full 28 episode.
You're right.
Show and stuff, but it's and it's based on a single book. So
and it's an emotional roller coaster. And what I want to do real quick for you, I'm let you talk for a minute. I want to grab a pint glass for you.
Oh boy.
I have one over here. I want you to try this and talk to the folks. Tell them what's coming up.
Well, apparently this brown bottle of libation here. And so yeah, that television has gotten so much better, I think, because of the streaming services. Honestly, you can't beat some of the shows that are there. 13 Reasons Why is just a fantastic production. I think it's a very important show. You need a pretty strong stomach to watch this kind of thing. But the thing is, these things happen, and
it's real life.
It's real life. Yeah, these things are happening to kids and adults. And one thing, here's the thing: as horrible as it was, the fact that they had Tyler get raped was a way of showing that it's not just a girl problem.
Poorly and just violently. And I know I've joked about it, and I've stopped.
We've all joked about it, but
holy Moses, I can't even say what I used to say is like, "Fuck you" with a splintered rake handle. I can't say that episode just shot it out the window.
Yeah. And you know what though, like statistically, if you include like prisons, like rape is kind of almost a 50-50 split between genders. And it's scary. It's a scary thing. And it's just, this show just shows you that nobody is safe around the worst kinds of people.
No, especially in high school, because let's be honest, there is that caste system where the jocks run the school.
Yeah, it's that, and they're alpha or beta male, whatever the fuck you want to call them. And it's funny, at the core, we're still animals, and what do animals do to show dominance? They mount.
Of course,
they mount and fuck, and that's basically what they did to Tyler when you think about it. Because it's one of the most emasculating things that can happen to a man, and it's almost like a really bad prison movie.
You can't take away a man's masculinity, and that goes back to, the emasculation of Mr. Porter. It goes back to Clay trying to figure out, am I a hero or am I a victim? There's so much dichotomy in this show that you find yourself. And I love this show. And if it goes on, great. If it doesn't, these 2 seasons have been fantastic. It
is definitely going on. They signed it. It's going on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's just it's the eternal struggle of man in current day, where if I'm too much of a man, I'm a jerk and I'm ostracized.
You're toxic.
If I'm less of a man, I'm ridiculed because I'm not man enough. There's no such thing as a happy medium. That's my take on it.
Hey, my philosophy is, whether you're man, woman, whoever, don't hurt people and don't take their stuff.
Amen.
It's that simple.
Before we try this fantastic brew,
what am I looking? What am I drinking here?
What we are looking at is Innocent Gun rum aged beer, which was aged in rum, oak, chips, and barrel. So it's a fantastic brew. I've tried it before. I wanted to get your opinion on it because I know you, and I know you eschew anything that I like other than Miller Lite gimmicks.
Not always.
Not always, but I wanted you to try this. And
what is it? Oh God, what was the band's beer that you had? It was pretty good.
Megadeth, the Atula Mon.
That was really good.
I'm gonna try to pick some of that up for the next episode, for the wrestling episode. And by the way, we got a great announcement coming up as we try this. Oh, it tastes rummy.
It's sweet.
It is.
It does taste like rum, though.
I don't know what the ABV is on this. Give me a second. It's dun, 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 dun. We're not gonna tell Chris what the ABV is.
It's kind of sweet and smoky tasting.
Very much so, and you can taste the rum in it. Well, the rum barrel gimmick, schnibitzfernum.com. No ABV. Oh wait, 6.8. So
it's not that bad.
A little heavier than your usual Bud Select or Miller Lite or whatever, but very flavorful.
It's not bad. My only complaint is that I one time got really sick on Bacardi Raz, and the taste of rum makes me nauseous now.
There's a reason I can't drink Yukon Jack ever, and that's a story I don't want to tell. Real quick, we'll pay a couple bills, and then I'm going to get to next week when Loki returns. We're going to have a special guest. The 2018 fundraisers, Chad Hatfield and Team World Vision. Go to the beginning of the show, get the description, donate. It's at the top of the Loki and Jabroni Show page. $5, $10, your entire paycheck. Nobody cares. Actually, we do care. We care a lot. Donate to Chad Hatfield and Team World Vision. He's my friend. He's a former guest. We love him. You want some sexy shirts like Eddie's wearing, like Chris is wearing right here? cafepress.com/Loki and Jabroni. The new t-shirts are up with the little red cap for Jabroni, little purple cap for Loki. Decide what team you're on. We're all the same team. It doesn't matter. You want to do some great shopping? LokiandJabroni.com. Go to our affiliates, Amazon, WWE, the new monthly, whatever, the cigar of the month, the cheese of the month, the beer of the month. Go out there and support us. You'll get some great things, and it'll help us out in the future. Patreon.com/Loki and Jabroni. Donate to the show. $5, $10. We don't care. There are many levels that you can get great prizes as a donor to the show. Now, next week. This week was supposed to be top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time, which I think Eddie's list would have been Hillbilly Jim, Junkyard Dog, and probably a bunch of jobbers, but I'll be surprised next week. But, added bonus. First time ever you guys are hearing about this. There's going to be someone sitting between Loki and Jabroni.
Bryce.
That what?
Bryce.
Fuck Bryce. Bryce Walker, Bryce Howard, Bryce.
I think Loki was
Harper.
chiming in.
I think he was. He said,
Bryce sucks.
Bryce sucks.
I thought you said Rice.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say Rice. Rice goes with everything.
Mm-hmm. No, Bryce. B. Rice. B. Rice. Oh, that's we can call him B. Rice.
That makes him sound cool. No.
Yeah, no. None of that. Sitting in between Loki and Jabroni next week is a gentleman who has chimed in on every wrestling episode. Special guest next week. Got to find a chair for him. We have a mic stand. We have a microphone. He's going to be here. His name is Jeff Howard. He is a loyal listener of the Loki and Jabroni Show. We're going to have him here. So we're going to have 4 top 10 lists of our favorite wrestlers of all time. He had his list ready to go.
Wow.
When I sent him a message during this episode, you're in. He said, I had my list ready to go. I was going to chime in.
That's some Corey Huffnagel business right there.
Certainly is. Speaking of Corey Huffnagel, tomorrow night is the C&J Speed Review. We record it, then we dump it on all of you guys. It's a Saturday night race this week for the Cup Series. It's at Kentucky. We have a Friday night race for the Xfinity Series. Don't know if the trucks are running. If they do, they're going to run on Thursday. And what you're going to hear, I just want to move this. I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview because I don't think Corey always listens to this show. I'm going to get this little gimmick here. These are all our picks right here. I do this every week. Pages of this gimmick. This is the first time in the history of ever that I've beaten Corey 2 weeks in a row. Not only 2 weeks in a row, but I beat Corey 2 races on the same week. That's the be-all, end-all. When you go to Daytona, what you expect is you expect the big one. What you don't expect is 2 big ones. We had a surprise winner, a young gun named Eric Jones, won the race, and good on him. That guy has been bubbling for quite a while. And Eddie, I know he listens half-heartedly when he produces the show. We've talked about Eric Jones a lot. Eric Jones came up big. He was in the top 10 most of the day, and he comes away with the win. So we got a young gun on the Cup side that wins the race. Fantastic for him. But on the Xfinity side, well, I don't want to go into too much detail, but Corey picked not the best picks ever. Let me run through this for you. Sneak preview. On the Cup side, these are the picks. I'm going to say side 1. I'm not going to say who it is. Side 1 picked 27th place, 34th place, and 30th place. Okay? You add those together, you get a grand total of 91. You divide that by 3, the average finish was 30.3333333. The other side had 19th place, 23rd place, and 27th place. You add that up, it gets to 69. You divide that by 3, and it's 23. That is the worst average finish in C&J Speedway Review history. That says something. We're pretty good. But when you go to Daytona, like when you go to Talladega, everything's a crapshoot. 200 miles an hour, things are bound to happen. The first, I think it was in the middle of the second stage, you had a 20-car pileup. Took most of your big names out. Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin. Too many. Don't want to spoil it. We'll go to tomorrow night. If you're not a fan of the C&J Speedway Review, get out there and look it up. Y'all have a good time. Anything you have to add before we go?
No, that's basically it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the walk through 13 Reasons Why, Season 2. I know we enjoyed it. We got fired up. We got angry. We got emotional. But at the end of the day, what a great series. And when Season 3 hits, be there.
And we'll do this again.
And we certainly will. This is bonus episode Jones. Loki comes back next week. We're doing our wrestling episode, top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. This is one of those ones that we can't have the vote and go, oh, well, this one's better than this one. It's all personal. It's all subjective. And Jeff Howard will be sitting right here in between Loki and myself.
All right.
Don't forget. I'm sorry I just kind of jaked you right there. August 19th, The Deck, Westbrook, Connecticut, SummerSlam Party. We have raffle prizes. We have the trivia prize. And eventually we will have the Loki and Jabroni Trivia Championship belt, which once you gain it, I'm coming to get it. Because I don't lose, motherfucker. When it comes to trivia, I'm the king. And these guys will tell you the same thing.
Can't argue.
All right. We'll see you next week. And tell your friends. Download the back episodes. Do what you got to do. We love all the support. It's been a fantastic month.
It's been a great month. Please leave reviews on iTunes. It really, really helps. The new subscribers have been piling up, and we really appreciate all of you.
Do me a favor. When you leave a review on iTunes, before you type anything about the show, just so we know you're a new reviewer, use your little emoji icons and leave the horse head and the poop emoji. Let us know.
It puts a date on the review.
It doesn't matter. I want to know you're a new reviewer. I want to see the horse shit. I want to see it right at the beginning. Tell us you're doing the right thing.
All right, everyone. I'm Eddie Focus. This is Jabroni.
As always.
And next week, Loki will be back. Good night.